Chapter 2982. Comprehending space and mastering space were two different things altogether. Originally, he was prepared to continue heading to the Kingship Tower because many peak lords had mastered the power of space in the Kingship Tower and became godly kings from there. But now Longao was not prepared to head to the Kingship Tower at all. It was a complete joke. He could clearly sense that someone in the Kingship Tower must have done this on purpose. If he had known, he would not have entered the Kingship Tower to comprehend the power of space even if he was beaten to death. His instincts told him that the Kingship Tower was not that simple. On the third day, Xiaohe, you've already devoured a level 5 beast pill so quickly? Xiaohe was also pleasantly surprised. He said, this is just one level 5 beast pill. If I can get a few more, I believe that my cultivation base can be on par with boss and break through to peak lord level. Currently, Xiaohe had successfully broken through to beginner lord level after refining the level 5 beast pill. The difference between beginner lord level and peak lord level was too great. Xiaohe, your cultivation base has successfully broken through to beginner lord level. What level of martial artist can you devour? That was the key. Xiaohe was helpless. He said with a smile, Boss, with my current ability, I can only devour peak lord level martial artists at most. As for godly kings, I can't devour them yet. Longao had already guessed it. He was not surprised at all. In that case, we'll work hard to earn crystals and buy more level 5 beast pills for you. Xiaohe's situation was completely different from his. Even if he had a chaotic dantian, it was impossible for his cultivation speed to be without bottlenecks. However, Xiaohe could do it without any bottlenecks. As long as Xiaohe had enough beast pills to devour, there was no doubt that Xiaohe could continue to break through. To Longao, earning spar was not a difficult matter. It was just that tens of billions of spar was not a small number either. The fastest way to earn crystals was to sell pills. Currently, Longao was only a level 4 formation master and level 4 elixir inscription master. He could only refine level 4 pills. He knew the value of level 4 pills better than anyone else. The most important thing now was to raise his elixir inscription level as soon as possible. In that case, once he refined level 5 pills, it would not be difficult to exchange them for level 5 beast pills. The difference between a tier 4 inscriptionist and a tier 5 inscriptionist was like a watershed. The gap between the two was extremely large. Countless level 4 pill inscription masters had been stuck at this stage. Even Longao wasn't completely confident that he could become a tier 5 pill inscription master. He had to break through. Failure. He still failed. He still failed. In the span of 3 months, Longao had failed to refine a level 5 medicinal pill. What was going on? Longao sat very gloomily. He really couldn't figure out what was going on. Under normal circumstances, he had tried to refine a level 5 pill many times before. Every time, he was just a little bit away from successfully refining a level 5 pill, but he never succeeded. It was impossible for him not to be depressed when he failed at the last step, let alone becoming a 5th level pill inscription master. Even if he became a 5th level formation master, for some unknown reason, he was still unable to become a 5th level formation master. It was the same as refining pills. He was also at the last step, unable to successfully advance. This was not the way to go. He could not figure it out. Boss, I have an idea. I don't know if it can help you.
Tell me about it.
Boss, have you ever thought about it? Every time you advance, your alchemy and formation skills advance at the same time. Why don't you try combining them? That was right. Hearing Xiaohe's words, Longao suddenly understood and said, You're right. I'll try it right away. Without any hesitation, Longao immediately began to advance his formation skills and alchemy at the same time.
It was just as Xiaohe said.
Longao, who had been stuck at the tier 4 bottleneck, had successfully advanced to a tier 5 pill inscription master and a tier 5 formation master in just one day. He couldn't help but be pleasantly surprised. If it weren't for Xiaohe's enlightenment, he would probably be stuck at the tier 4 bottleneck for the rest of his life. Xiaohe, I'm going to refine a level 5 medicinal pill now. If nothing goes wrong, 2 level 5 medicinal pills can be exchanged for a beast pill. The value of a beast pill was far less than a medicinal pill. After all, to refine a high-level medicinal pill, one needed a beast pill. Swallowing a beast pill would have side effects, and one would even have to face the risk of being devoured by the beast pill. However, swallowing a beast pill was different. The chance of a backlash would be infinitely lower. After successfully advancing to a Tier 5 pill inscription master, Longao did not hesitate and immediately began to refine the medicinal pill. Not only that, he even gathered a spirit-gathering formation in the medicinal pill. This way, he could make up for the problem of not being able to fuse a beast pill. If this was in the past, it would be impossible. This was because in order to refine a level 5 medicinal pill, one must use a level 5 beast pill. This was the real reason why level 4 medicinal pills and level 5 medicinal pills were so expensive. A level 5 beast pill required tens of billions of crystal stones. One could imagine how much a level 5 beast pill was worth. Although he had already become a martial skill pill inscription master, it was not easy for Longao to refine a level 5 medicinal pill. After refining for 3 days and 3 nights, he only managed to refine 3 level 5 medicinal pills. He then took them to the pill hall and exchanged them for more than 40 billion crystal stones. Then he bought 4 level 5 beast pills. 4 level 5 beast pills were too important to Xiaohe. After swallowing them, his cultivation level instantly skyrocketed. He broke through from a beginner lord to a peak lord. However, if he wanted to continue to break through, just swallowing level 5 beast pills was far from enough. However, all of this was enough. After all, he and Xiaohe's cultivation speed was very fast. In the following time, they had to completely stabilize their cultivation level and then find a way to control the power of space. Xiaohe, with your current strength, what level of martial artist can you devour? This was what Longao was most concerned about. His cultivation level had just broken through to a peak lord. It was still unknown whether he could fight against a god king. However, Xiaohe's situation was clearly different. Of course, Xiaohe knew what his boss meant. After thinking about it, he said, according to my guess, with my current strength, I should be able to devour beginner god kings. As for whether I can devour intermediate god kings, that's very difficult. That's enough. Longao was not surprised at all. After all, a god king had truly mastered the power of space. For Xiaohe to be able to devour beginner god kings as a peak lord was already an extremely powerful existence. The chaotic heaven-devouring beast's heaven-devouring divine ability alone was not something to be trifled with. Boss, since you've already killed He Zhongtian, why don't we attack the Sanskrit sound sect and kill Du Lei? Shocked, Longao immediately said, as the #1 sect in the Zonglongtian region, the Sanskrit sound sect's foundation and strength are not something we can fight against. P.S. Many people have privately messaged Xiaojiu. He caught a bad cold a few days ago, so he's a little less today. He's going to release 10 chapters tomorrow, starting at midnight tonight. Chapter 2983. That was a joke. The Sanskrit sound sect was the top sect in the Zonglong Heaven region, especially the master of the Sanskrit sound sect, who was a god emperor. As for the Sanskrit sound sect, they had many god king elders. With just his and Blackie's strength, it would be like hitting a rock with an egg to fight against the entire Sanskrit sound sect. After successfully killing He Zhongtian, only Du Lei was left. If Du Lei stayed in the Sanskrit sound sect, he wouldn't stand a chance. Now that Du Lei left alone, he would have a chance. Blackie knew that it wouldn't be easy. He was just unwilling. Boss, what should we do now? Cultivate and break through to God King as soon as possible. Then, even if we face a peak God King, we'll be able to fight. God Kings were split into 4 realms: Beginner God King, Intermediate God King, Advanced God King, and Peak God King. Breaking through to God King was easy to think about, but extremely difficult to do. Sanskrit sound sect. Du Lei already knew about He Zhongtian's death. Back then, he was afraid that someone else would die. Both of them had left a primordial spirit jade token. As long as one of them died, the other would know instantly. Looking at the primordial spirit jade token in his hand, Du Lei was shocked. He Zhongtian was dead? How was that possible? Du Lei knew very well that He Zhongtian had left the sect to go to Zonglong City because he wanted to continue cultivating in the king-naming pagoda. Why would he suddenly die? What was going on? What was going on? Of course, Du Lei knew the severity of the matter. Someone actually dared to kill a master god protector of the Sanskrit sound sect in the Zonglong Heaven region. This was a challenge to the Sanskrit sound sect. Without hesitation, Du Lei immediately headed to the Grand Elder's residence. The Grand Elder, Miao Zhongyi, was the elder of the Sanskrit sound sect. He was a peak god king expert. Under normal circumstances, the master of the Sanskrit sound sect, Yemo, didn't care about the sect. Instead, it was the Grand Elder who was in charge. Everyone in the sect wasn't afraid of the master, but the Grand Elder. In an elegant courtyard. Du Lei, what are you doing? How can you be so flustered? He was unhappy. Miao Zhongyi was an old man with a full beard. He had a dignified expression. He sat quietly and looked at Du Lei in front of him with dissatisfaction. He bowed respectfully. Du Lei immediately took out a broken jade tablet from his bosom and said, "Great Elder, he was killed." Grand Elder, there's something you don't know. Back then, Elder he and I each gave each other an essence soul jade token. Once one of us dies, the other person's jade token will shatter. Continue. Du Lei recounted the entire matter in detail, not daring to leave out the slightest detail. The sex protector was killed in the Zonglong Tian region. This could be a big or small matter. Miao Zhongyi's face became gloomier and gloomier as his body emitted endless killing intent. Do you know who it is? He nodded, then shook his head. What's going on? Du Lei did not dare to hide anything. He said, Great Elder, although I don't know who did it, I'm sure that this person killed Elder He. Then, he must have Elder He's aura on him. As long as we lock onto the broken jade token, we'll be able to find out who it is. I see. Du Lei continued. Previously, Elder, he went to the king-naming tower in Zonglong City, hoping to master the power of space and become a divine king. If I'm not wrong, this person should still be in the Zonglong Tian region. The Zonglong Tian region was boundless. It was easier said than done to find a person. It was as difficult as finding a needle in the sea. Let's go to Zonglong City and have a look.
Yes.
Don't leak this out. Just the two of us will go. I'd like to see who dares to kill the people of the Sanskrit sound sect. Miao Zhongyi and Du Lei left the Sanskrit sound sect without telling anyone. After all, it was better not to leak this matter. Zonglong City. Domain Lord Manor. There was no city lord in Zonglong City, only the domain lord. In fact, in many core cities of the heavenly regions, there was only the domain lord manor. The domain lord of the Zonglong Tian region, Xiaofan, was a junior divine emperor who had mastered the space domain. He was very powerful among all the junior divine emperors. He was also very good at socializing with people. Domain Lord, the great elder of the Sanskrit sound sect, is here to see you. The Sanskrit sound sect? The great elder Miao Zhongyi? Xiaofan did not know why the great elder of the Sanskrit sound sect would come to the domain lord manor. He was very curious and did not dare to be rude. He said, Please. The Sanskrit sound sect was much more powerful than the domain lord manor in the Zonglong Tian region. Therefore, Xiaofan did not want to provoke the Sanskrit sound sect. They had been living peacefully for a long time. After a short while, Miao Zhongyi and Du Lei came in. Xiaofan said with a smile, Brother Miao, you've come from afar. Please forgive me for not welcoming you. Domain Lord Xiao, long time no see.
How are you?
Both of them were old foxes with ulterior motives. Brother Miao, what brings you here? Xiaofan knew very well that Miao Zhongyi would not come to the domain lord manor for no reason. There must be something fishy going on. Miao Zhongyi did not want to beat around the bush. After all, this was not the Sanskrit sound sect, but the domain lord manor's territory. Xiaofan was the domain lord of the domain lord manor. Without Miao Zhongyi's help, it would be difficult to deal with this matter. Moreover, he did not want Miao Zhongyi to misunderstand. Domain Lord Xiao, The Domain Lord Manor and the Sanskrit Sound Sect have always been on good terms. This time, we're here to find someone. We hope you can help us.
Who?
Here's the thing. Miao Zhongyi did not hide anything and told Xiao Fan about the matter. Xiao Fan was shocked. He did not expect that someone would dare to kill the protector of the Sanskrit Sound Sect in the Zonglong Tian region. Moreover, it was very likely that it happened in Zonglong City. If that was the case, the Domain Lord Manor would be in trouble. It seemed that Miao Zhongyi did not want to cause a misunderstanding with the Domain Lord Manor, so he came to find Xiao Fan. Brother Miao, I will do my best to help you in this matter. If this person really takes action in Zonglong City, not to mention the Sanskrit Sound Sect, even I will not let him off easily. Miao Zhongyi was not a fool. Of course, he knew that Xiao Fan deliberately said this for him to hear, so that the Domain Lord Manor would not be implicated. However, this matter had nothing to do with the Domain Lord Manor. If the Domain Lord Manor could help them, it would save them a lot of trouble. Thinking of this, Miao Zhongyi cupped his fists and said with a smile, "In that case, I thank you very much. The Sanskrit Sound Sect will definitely repay you for what you did today." Chapter 2984. Longao did not know that the two men from Sanskrit Sound Sect had come to Zonglong City. Longao did not leave. Instead, he stayed in Zonglong City. In his opinion, the most dangerous place was the safest place. What Longao did not know was that He Zhongtian and Dulei had each other's primordial spirit jade pendant. Dulei knew that he had killed He Zhongtian and had reported it to the Great Elder. Dulei had used the broken jade pendant to find out who had killed He Zhongtian and had the help of Xiao Fan and Miao Zhongyi. How is it? Domain Chief's manor. Miao Zhongyi's face was gloomy, and he looked terrible. Miao Zhongyi knew very well that if the person who had killed He Zhongtian was not in Zonglong City, he must have left. It was difficult to find someone in Zonglong Sky Territory. If the person had left Zonglong Sky Territory, it would be even more impossible to find him. In his opinion, he still hoped that the person who had killed He Zhongtian was in Zonglong City. Great Elder, I have found him. Miao Zhongyi was delighted. He could not wait to ask, where is he? Northeast. As for who he is, I can't find him yet. Let's go. Since they had found the general location, it was much easier to handle. Not only Du Lei and Miao Zhongyi, but even Xiao Fan followed them. However, the rest of the people from Domain Chief's manor did not follow them. In Xiao Fan's opinion, as long as the person was not a divine emperor, he and Miao Zhongyi could destroy him in minutes. There was no doubt about it. Northeast of Zonglong City, Longao was cultivating quietly in the courtyard. Suddenly, he opened his eyes. Two beams of light shot out from his eyes as he stared at the three figures who were approaching him quickly. The three figures arrived in an instant. Looking at Dulei, Longao's heart skipped a beat. He had guessed that Sanskrit Sound Sect had found out that he had killed He Zhongtian. How did Sanskrit Sound Sect know about it? Longao? Looking at the young man in front of him, Dulei looked at him again and realized that the person who killed He Zhongtian was Longao. Is this true? Even if Longao was extremely talented and had already become a peak martial master, he could forget about killing He Zhongtian. No matter what, a peak martial arts master and a lord were not on the same level. Not only that, according to the rumors, Longao had already turned into a demon, and by chance, he had killed the city lord of Black Rock City, Nangong Chen. If that was the case, why was this person still here? You know this person? Since things had already come to this, Dulei naturally did not dare to continue hiding it. Then, he recounted everything that had happened earlier in detail. Humph. With a heavy snort, Miao Zhongyi's expression became increasingly gloomy. The two of them actually concealed such a big matter and did not report it. In the end, the two of them still wanted to monopolize the light spots. We'll talk about this when we get back. Hearing the Great Elder's words, Dulei's heart trembled. He knew what the Great Elder meant. Once he returned to the sect, his situation would be very bad. He let out a deep sigh. There was nothing he could do if he didn't go back. With the strength of the Sanskrit sect, even if he ran to the ends of the earth, the situation would be even worse. Did you kill Elder Hezhongtian of the Sanskrit sect?
So what if I did?
Ha ha ha, what an arrogant brat. Miao Zhomi laughed. He had seen arrogant people before, but he had never seen such an arrogant person. Facing him and a junior divine emperor, he actually dared to be so arrogant. Arrogant? Longao also laughed and said even more arrogantly, so, what if I'm arrogant? Could it be that only they are allowed to hunt me down, but I can't kill them? Looking coldly at Du Lei, who was beside Miao Zhomi, Longao said coldly, Du Lei, you will end up like Hezhongtian. I hope you don't leave the Sanskrit sect. Otherwise, I will definitely tear you to pieces.
Just by you?
Du Lei did not take Longao seriously at all. Not to mention him. Even the other two thought that Longao must have played some tricks to be able to kill Hezhongtian. Miao Zhomi was very uncomfortable. If he had known about this earlier, he might have already obtained the power light spot. How could Miao Zhomi not know what the power light spot meant when even the overgod could not refine it? If he could devour the power light spot, he would know what it meant. Perhaps he could use the power of the light spot to break through to the divine emperor realm.
But now?
It was because of the selfishness of the two that he had lost the power light spot. It would be a lie to say that he was not angry. But now was not the time to be angry. Suppressing the anger in his heart, Miao Zhomi looked coldly at the young man in front of him and said, if you don't have the power light spot, as long as you hand it over, I can promise not to kill you. I will only seal you in the Sanskrit sect. How about it? For the power light spot, Miao Zhomi suppressed the killing intent in his heart. As long as he could get the power light spot, it would not matter if he did not kill this person. Du Lei was shocked. However, the first elder's words carried enormous weight. Since he had already spoken, no matter how uncomfortable and displeased he was, he could only forcefully endure it. As an outsider, Xiao Fan could not say much. As long as he could capture this person, he did not care whether this person was dead or alive.
Who are you?
Until now, Longao still did not know the identity of the two people beside Du Lei. However, one was a peak divine king, and the other was a junior divine emperor. It was obvious that they were not simple people. This is the great elder of the Sanskrit sect, Miao Zhomi. This is the territorial lord of Zonglong City, Xiao Fan. Why don't you kneel down and greet them? Du Lei said deliberately. How could Longao not know what Du Lei meant? He did not care at all. He laughed and said, so, what if you are the great elder of the Sanskrit sect? What does it have to do with me? As for territorial Lord Xiao, I really can't figure it out. This is a grudge between the Sanskrit sect. If you meddle in other people's business, don't blame me for finding trouble with you in the future and eliminating your territorial lord mansion. Not to mention Xiao Fan, even Du Lei and Miao Zhomi were shocked when they heard Longao's words. Longao was extremely arrogant. He was the domain lord of Zonglong Heavenly Domain and a primary divine emperor. No matter where he went, he would always be at the top. He had never been humiliated like this before. For a domain lord, this was simply a great humiliation. However, Xiao Fan was not as angry as he had imagined. Instead, he asked calmly, who are you? I wonder if territorial Lord Xiao has heard about the Black Stone Heavenly Region? The matter of the Black Stone Heavenly Region had shaken the entire chaotic world. Many big cities had already known about it. Chapter 2985. Zonglong Heavenly Region was a middle heavenly region. How could he not know about the Blackstone Heavenly Region? He was shocked. Xiao Fan never thought that the person who destroyed the Domain Lord's manor and the City Lord's manor was the young man in front of him. According to the rumors, Longao had the support of the Pill Hall. The Pill Hall even destroyed the Domain Lord's manor and the City Lord's manor just to find an excuse. Longao even killed Nangong Chen. What did it mean? The Pill Hall was like a colossus. Xiao Fan knew that he and the Domain Lord's manor were no match for the Pill Hall. Miao Zhomi was also shocked. He also didn't expect that Longao was the one who destroyed the Blackstone Heavenly Domain's domain chief manor. He cursed Du Lei in his heart. Humph, so what if you're Longao? How dare you kill the protector of the Sanskrit sound sect? Even the pill hall can't protect you. Xiao Fan had the intention to retreat. After all, it had nothing to do with him. There was no need to offend Longao and the pill hall for the Sanskrit sound sect. It would be a lie if he said that he wasn't afraid of the pill hall. Brother Miao, since you've already locked on to this person, I'll leave now. Just as expected. Miao Zhongmi cursed in his heart. The pill hall was really powerful. Even Xiao Fan from the Domain Lord's manor was afraid of them. Longao sneered. Thank you, Domain Lord Xiao. You'll be glad that you're calm today. Xiao Fan smiled helplessly. He had been in the chaotic world for so many years. He had seen many young and arrogant people. However, he had never seen such an arrogant person. Even if this person had the support of the pill hall, he was still a domain lord and a divine emperor expert. It seemed that the other party didn't put him in his eyes at all. However, Xiao Fan was indeed afraid of the pill hall. If it wasn't for the pill hall, he wouldn't have acted like this. Miao Zhongmi was furious. However, he suppressed his anger and said, "Don't you care about the relationship between the Domain Lord's manor and the Sanskrit sound sect? Shameless. When did the Domain Lord's manor and the Sanskrit sound sect have a relationship?" Xiao Fan cursed in his heart. He knew what Miao Zhongmi meant. It was impossible for the Sanskrit sound sect alone to fight against the pill hall. If they could get the Domain Lord's manor to help them, they would have a partner. Both of them were sly old foxes. They were playing little tricks, each with their own ulterior motives. Brother Miao Longao is still a member of the pill hall.
You should know how serious this matter is.
Xiao Fan did not want to continue. He did not want his domain master's mansion to fall into a state of eternal damnation.
Before
Du Lei could speak, Longao said, "Territorial Lord Xiao, if you want to leave, please hurry up. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite." If it wasn't for the fact that the other party was Longao, Xiao Fan would have already slapped him. Xiao Fan knew clearly that the reason why Longao dared to do so was because he had the backing of the pill hall. Otherwise, he wouldn't dare to do so. The more it was like this, the more uncertain Xiao Fan felt. The pill hall could destroy the Domain Lord's mansion and the City Lord's mansion in the Blackstone Heavenly region for this person. Nobody could guarantee that the pill hall wouldn't destroy the Domain Lord's mansion and himself for this person. If the pill hall wanted to destroy him, it would be a piece of cake. He did not want to stay any longer. In the next second, without waiting for Miao Zhongmi to say anything, Xiao Fan turned around and left. In the blink of an eye, he had disappeared without a trace.
Trash.
Miao Zhongmi scolded fiercely. He looked at the young man in front of him coldly and sneered, "Longao, don't do whatever you want just because you have the backing of the pill hall. I would like to see what the pill hall will do if I kill you today." If it wasn't for the light spot, Miao Zhongmi might be afraid of the pill hall. He wouldn't kill Longao and would only suppress him.
But now,
if he could successfully kill this person, he would search Longao's soul even if it would harm his Tao. By then, he would be able to find the light spot's power and break through to the divine emperor realm.
He did not know why.
Miao Zhongmi had a feeling that as long as he could obtain the light spot's power, he would be able to break through to the divine king realm and become a divine emperor.
Humans were like that. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that way.
Seeing that Xiao Fan had left, Longao did not want to waste any more time. Since he was going to fight anyway, there was no need to waste time. He took a step forward. Longao's figure had already dashed out. Before he arrived, the Xian Yuan sword in his hand had already stabbed out fiercely. The 9 god-slaying swords were quickly unleashed. Each sword was faster than the previous one. He did not give the two of them any chance. Presumptuous. You're courting death. Seeing that the other party dared to take the initiative to attack, Miao Zhongmi was furious. His hand turned into a palm and immediately shot out countless palm shadows. Not only could a peak divine king confine space and kill, he could even break through space. This was the strength of a peak divine king. This palm not only confined space, but it could also kill. How could an ordinary overgod block it? Seeing that Longao had already become a peak divine king, Du Lei was shocked. He finally knew why Longao could kill He Zhongtian. With such powerful abilities, it would not be difficult for him to kill Du Lei, let alone kill He Zhongtian. No wonder Longao had boasted shamelessly and asked Du Lei to stay in the Sanskrit sect. It turned out that he had something to rely on. Du Lei felt scared just thinking about it. Fortunately, he had reported this to the Grand Elder. If he had come to look for Longao alone, he could imagine the consequences. Du Lei immediately retreated. Now that the Grand Elder had attacked, as long as nothing unexpected happened, Longao would definitely die. Seeing that Du Lei had retreated, Longao was delighted. This was the situation he wanted. Xiaohe, swallow him. In the past, Xiaohe might not have been able to do so. However, Xiaohe was no longer the same as before. He had successfully broken through to peak overgod. Even swallowing beginner god kings would not be difficult for him, let alone overgods. Just as Longao's voice fell, a huge black monster suddenly appeared. It really scared Du Lei. However, after being shocked, he didn't even have time to react before he was directly swallowed by Xiaohe. Xiaohe swallowed Du Lei cleanly. Xiaohe, who had successfully broken through to peak overgod, could instantly devour any cultivator below God King. Miao Zhongyi was completely enraged when he saw Du Lei being devoured by the spirit beast right in front of his eyes. This was simply a great humiliation for him. Gradually, Miao Zhongyi also realized that something was wrong. Could it be that the man and the beast were doing this on purpose? If that was the case, then they had gone too far. Just as Miao Zhongyi was about to kill Du Lei, the situation changed. Longao and Xiaohe suddenly vanished from where they were, entering his chaotic dantian. They had vanished right before Miao Zhongyi's eyes. Even an idiot could guess that the two of them definitely possessed a spatial artifact. P.S. Thank you for the tip, Brother Haibin. Chapter 2986. Longao, come out. There was no movement. Longao, if you're still a man, then get the hell out of here. You coward, I'll definitely tear you to shreds. There was still no movement. Miao Zhongyi did not choose to give up because he was certain that even if the other party could enter the spatial artifact, he would not be able to leave. He was very confident in his aura. He was very confident. There was no hesitation. Miao Zhongyi immediately confined the surrounding space. As long as he could confine the other party, there was a chance to kill him. Longao and Blackie had already hidden in his chaotic dantian. Boss, we can't go on like this. That old man will definitely not let this go. Are we going to stay here forever? Blackie was very depressed. He could not wait to go out and kill again. He was lawless. Blackie had such a character. Even if he was facing a peak divine king, he still had no fear. Instead, he had a soaring battle intent. Longao liked Blackie's character very much. No matter if it was a martial artist or a spiritual beast, they should be like this. They should be brave and invincible. Miao Zhongyi is a peak divine king. There is no need for us to fight him head-on. Looking for an opportunity. Longao knew very well that even if he and Blackie were to face a peak divine king, they would not be a match for the other party. Since that was the case, there was no need to waste more time. They could only use their wits and not brute force. Blackie was very obedient to Longao's words. He would follow whatever his boss said and would not be unwilling to do so. As soon as Xiao Fan left, he immediately sealed the surroundings of the courtyard. He was not willing to reveal this matter. Who knew if it would implicate him? But the result? Under normal circumstances. With Miao Zhongyi's strength, it would be a matter of minutes if he wanted to kill or take Longao away. Now, a few hours had passed. No matter if it was Du Lei or Longao, none of them had left the courtyard. It would be a lie to say that there was nothing fishy going on. Out of curiosity, Xiao Fan quietly came to the courtyard. He realized that only Miao Zhongyi was there. As for Du Lei and Longao, they were not in the courtyard. What was going on? Regent Lord Xiao, since you are here, why don't you show yourself? Xiao Fan knew that the other party had already discovered him, so he did not continue to hide and walked out. Congratulations, Brother Miao. Before Xiao Fan could finish, Miao Zhong waved his hand and said impatiently, I'm not afraid of you laughing at me. Not only did I fail to kill him, but Du Lei was also killed right under my nose.
Huh.
Hearing Miao Zhong's words, Xiao Fan was shocked. Of course, he knew what this meant. There was no need to mention Miao Zhong's strength. A peak divine king was only one step away from becoming a junior divine emperor. But the result? Longao actually killed Du Lei right under the nose of a peak divine king. Du Lei's corpse did not even remain. Could it be that Longao was hiding his strength? As if he could guess what Xiao Fan was thinking, Miao Zhongmi said fiercely, Longao has a divine beast that can devour warriors. It seems to be a peak divine king. While I was dealing with Longao, this beast took advantage of the situation. Otherwise, Miao Zhongmi was unhappy. Both the man and the beast were peak divine kings. Even if the man and the beast joined forces, he could easily kill them, let alone one-on-one. However, even if he was beaten to death, he would never have thought that Longao actually had a spatial divine weapon. It was a spatial divine weapon that even he could not lock down. If he did not see it with his own eyes, he would have found it hard to believe. Longao has a spatial divine weapon. However, I have already sealed the surrounding space. He should still be here. After hearing that, Xiao Fan immediately released his aura and instantly shrouded the entire courtyard. Xiao Fan was different from Miao Zhongmi. Xiao Fan's cultivation had already broken through to the junior divine emperor level, and he had already mastered the space domain. Even if he used the space domain, he still could not lock down the spatial divine weapon in Longao's hand. What the hell is going on? It was his first time seeing such a heaven-defying spatial divine weapon. Even Xiao Fan was shocked. However, his heart was filled with greed. He could not wait to get his hands on the spatial divine weapon. Territorial Lord Xiao, how is it? I can't sense it. Miao Zhongmi knew that Xiao Fan would not lie to him. If that was the case, things would be really troublesome. The other party had such a heaven-defying spatial divine weapon. Not to mention him, even Xiao Fan could not lock down the spatial divine weapon. Doesn't that mean that even the master would not be able to lock down the spatial divine weapon? How could there be such a heaven-defying spatial divine weapon in the world? Brother Miao, are you sure that Longao is still here? In fact, Miao Zhongmi did not dare to say whether Longao was really here or not. It was just a guess. However, he could not give up now. If he let Longao escape, he would not know where to find him. The chaotic world had a total of 99 heavens domains. Not to mention the 99 heavens domains, even finding a person in one of the heavens domains was extremely difficult. Fortunately, this person was in Zone Long City. Otherwise, they would not be able to lock onto Longao. I'm very sure. Old bastard. Fuck your ancestor. If you have the ability, then don't leave. Once I recover my strength, I'll definitely devour you. Just at this time, a voice rang out from within the courtyard. It was very arrogant. Could it be that this was the spiritual beast that swallowed Du Lei? To be able to swallow a Lord God in an instant, one could imagine how powerful this spiritual beast was. You dare to call me a beast? Haha, old man, I hope you will still say that later. Xiao He deliberately said that. He was not injured at all, so how could he recover his strength? With his current strength, it was impossible for him to swallow Miao Zhongmi. However, according to Longao's intention, he wanted Miao Zhongmi to be unable to estimate how strong Xiao He was. Sure enough. Hearing Xiao He's arrogant words, Miao Zhongmi was shocked. Could it be that he had underestimated the other party's strength? If that was the case, once the other party had the strength to swallow him, wouldn't it mean that he went for wool and came home shorn this time? Thinking of this, the more Miao Zhongmi thought about it, the more he felt that something was wrong. The other party had already set up a formation and seemed to be waiting for him. Should he stay in this place or leave immediately? If he chose to leave at this time, he would definitely be laughed at by others. Moreover, Xiao Fan was right beside him. Just now, he had vowed to lock onto Longao's position. It was really a bit difficult to stop halfway. Longao, and that beast, if you have the ability, come out and have a fair fight with me. What are you, if not cowards hiding in the spatial artifact? Chapter 2987. Haha, old man, wait for me for 3 days. 3 days later, I will fulfill your wish. Blackie's arrogant voice came from the courtyard again. Miao Zhongyi was even more fearful of Blackie. Could it be that Blackie really had the strength to devour him? Not to mention Miao Zhongyi, even Xiao Fan was a little worried. If he did not hear it with his own ears, he would not dare to believe it. No wonder Longao was fearless. It turned out that he had such a heaven-defying spiritual beast by his side. A spiritual beast that could devour a divine king. It was obvious what it meant. In the next second, Longao and Blackie suddenly appeared in front of them. You really dare to come out? Looking at the man and the beast in front of him, Miao Zhongyi was shocked. He never thought that they would really come out. It was a great humiliation for him. Domain Lord Xiao, it seems like you are determined to be my enemy? Ignoring Miao Zhongyi, Longao just stared at Domain Lord Xiao, the beginner divine emperor. He did not want to fall out with the Domain Lord unless he had no other choice. The strength of a beginner divine emperor was still there.
He was hesitating.
Xiao Fan was helpless as well. Why did he return for no reason? On one side was the Sanskrit sound sect, on the other side was the pill hall. He definitely did not want to offend either side, especially the pill hall, which was a colossus in the chaotic world. It could even be compared to the Domain Lord Alliance. Longao, the grudge between you and the Sanskrit sound sect has nothing to do with my Domain Lord manner. I will not help the Sanskrit sound sect, nor will I help you. What happened today has nothing to do with my Domain Lord manner. In the end, Xiao Fan chose not to help either side. Although this would offend the Sanskrit sound sect, he had to give up something in this situation. Longao was not surprised at all. He had already guessed this possibility. On the other hand, Miao Zhongyi was very uncomfortable. However, he did not say anything. After all, Longao was backed by the pill hall. He believed that no matter who it was, they would make the same choice. Goodbye. Please. After Xiao Fan left, Xiao He stood up and shouted, Old man, we didn't attack you just now because Xiao Fan is a junior divine emperor. Do you really think you can stop us? Blackie was very arrogant, but it was intentional. Not to mention little He, even Longao had an expression of, I'll eat you up. What was going on? Could it be that one man and one beast could really destroy him? Fear began to creep into his heart. If not a single one of them was left, he would probably be consigned to eternal damnation. Blackie, swallow him. Miao Zhongyi was most afraid of this sentence. Not long ago, it was because of Longao's words that Du Lei was devoured by this beast right under his nose. He didn't even have time to react. I'd like to see it today. Before Miao Zhongyi could finish speaking, Longao and Little He had already attacked him from both sides. Their speed was as fast as 2 bolts of lightning. Little He was responsible for scaring them while Longao was looking for an opportunity to launch a sure-kill attack. No matter what, Miao Zhongyi was a peak godly king, so it was almost impossible for him to fight him head-on. As the saying went, it was a psychological battle. Of course, Miao Zhongyi could clearly sense that both man and beast were peak lords, so they were probably no match for him. However, the scene of this spiritual beast devouring Du Lei was still vivid in his mind. It would be a lie to say that he was not afraid. He did not take Longao seriously at all. The only thing that Miao Zhongyi was afraid of was this spiritual beast. It was precisely because of this. Miao Zhongyi focused most of his attacks on Little He, while Longao attacked much less. This gave Longao a great opportunity. Carelessness killed. This time, Longao was not only prepared to use 2 types of exotic fires in order to launch a sure-kill attack, but he even used the Smelting God Tower that he had just refined. The Smelting God Tower enveloped Miao Zhongyi directly. When he realized that something was wrong, it was clearly too late. Before he could even react, he was already enveloped by the Smelting God Tower. The two types of exotic fires entered the Smelting God Tower and attacked Miao Zhongyi crazily. If it were outside, even if Longao used two types of exotic fires, he might not be able to kill Miao Zhongyi. The most likely outcome would be failure. However, using two types of exotic fires in the Smelting God Tower was a different concept. The two types of exotic fires eroded Miao Zhongyi crazily. In just a few seconds, he was completely burned to ashes. Little He looked at the Smelting God Tower in his boss's hand and sighed. "Boss, your Smelting God Tower is really powerful. It can even burn a peak godly king to ashes." He nodded. In fact, he was not too sure about how powerful his Smelting God Tower was. Since he had refined the Smelting God Tower, this was his first time dealing with a peak godly king. Whether he could kill a peak godly king was still unknown. However, Longao found a problem. If his Smelting God Tower was combined with two types of exotic fires, its power would be heaven-defying. As long as the other party was careless, he could even kill a peak godly king. Miao Zhongyi was a living example. Little He, now that we have killed Miao Zhongyi and Dulei, if nothing goes wrong, the Sanskrit Sound sect will know about this matter soon. Should we leave Zonglong City or continue to stay here and wait for the Sanskrit Sound sect? Little He had already devoured a peak godly king and two overgods' primordial spirit power. However, it seemed a little unrealistic if he wanted to rely on this power to advance to the godly king realm. Longao's intention was actually very simple. If they left now, even if the Sanskrit Sound sect was the #1 sect in Zonglong Tian domain, it would be like looking for a needle in a haystack. It was almost impossible for them to find the two of them. However, if the two of them continued to stay, although it would be more dangerous, it would allow Little He to devour more power. How could Little He not understand his boss's intention? He smiled and said, "Boss, I will follow your lead. If you want to leave, I will leave. If you want to stay, I will stay. I will definitely not object." Patting Little He's shoulder, Longao said with a smile, "Go into the chaotic Dantian and refine the power you just devoured. Let me think about whether to leave or stay." Longao did not make a decision immediately. He wanted to observe the situation before making a decision. Longao deliberately spread the news of Miao Zhongyi's death. The first person to receive the news would definitely be Xiaofan. As the domain lord of Zonglong City, Xiaofan did not believe it at all after receiving the news. However, after thinking about it, he understood. If the spiritual beast beside Miao Zhongyi could really devour godly king experts, then it would not be impossible for Longao to kill Miao Zhongyi. Chapter 2988. He had killed the Grand Elder and two protectors of the Sanskrit Sound sect. The news had just spread, and the entire Zonglong City was in an uproar. Everyone knew what the Sanskrit Sound sect meant. The Sanskrit Sound sect was the top sect in the Zonglong Tian territory. It was so powerful that even the domain chief's mansion was no match for it. It could be said that the Sanskrit Sound sect was a giant in the Zonglong Tian territory. No one would provoke such a powerful enemy unless they were out of their mind or had a death wish. Who was it? Xiaofan was the most shocked. He had never thought that Longao could really kill him. He pretended not to know. No matter what, Xiaofan was killed in Zonglong City. As expected, the Sanskrit Sound sect would not let it go. They had just received the news that the master of the Sanskrit Sound sect, Yemo, had brought 20 divine kings to Zonglong City. Yemo was a middle-level divine emperor, and his strength was far above Xiaofan's. The Sanskrit Sound sect was stronger than the domain chief's mansion, and the biggest reason was that Yemo was stronger than Xiaofan. According to the rumors, the person that the domain chief's alliance favored the most was not Xiaofan but Yemo. However, Yemo was unwilling to be the so-called domain chief and founded the Sanskrit Sound sect on his own. That was how Xiaofan got the chance to become the domain chief of the Zonglong Tian territory. It was impossible to say that he did not have a knot in his heart. The Sanskrit Sound sect was really angry this time. Since the establishment of the sect, such a thing had never happened. For the Sanskrit sound sect, it was not just a provocation but a slap in their face. As the overlord of the Zonlong Tian territory, it was a big joke that someone dared to provoke the Sanskrit sound sect. The domain chief's mansion. Master Yi, please forgive me for not coming out to meet you. Yimo's face was a little gloomy. Regardless of whether the matter had anything to do with the domain chief's mansion, it had happened in Zonlong City. He would not believe that it had nothing to do with the domain chief's mansion. Domain Chief Xiao, do you know about the death of the Sanskrit sound sect's grand elder and 2 protectors? I heard a little. I heard that he is still in Zonlong City. I don't know about that, but I have sealed the city. If he is still in the city. Xiao Fan had sealed Zonlong before Ye's arrival. But was this useful? He wanted to flare up, but he couldn't. Yi Mo suppressed the anger in his heart and said, I hope Territory Lord Xiao can help me this time. I will definitely thank you in the future. Of course. Xiao Fan was originally a two-faced and slick person. He didn't want to offend the Sanskrit sound sect or the pill hall. I heard that the person who killed the 3 elders was a peak over god. Impossible. As soon as Xiao Fan finished speaking, a gawking elder behind Mo immediately spoke up. It was a complete joke. A peak lord could kill the grand elder? This was the same logic as a sow climbing a tree. No one would believe it. Perhaps some people would have believed that a peak lord could kill 2 lord protectors. It was common knowledge. Just how great was the gap between a peak lord and a peak godly king? They were not on the same level at all. Yi Mo waved his hand and said, Territorial Lord Xiao, please continue. He ignored the god-king martial artist who had just interrupted him. That is indeed the case. However, it is said that this person has a very powerful spiritual beast by his side that can devour divine king experts. As for whether it is true or not, no one knows. Devour divine king's spiritual beast? It was a complete joke. Even Yi Mo didn't believe it, let alone the others. Territorial Lord Xiao, may I know if you can activate the defensive formation? Everyone in the Zonlong Tian domain knew that a level 6 formation master was related to the previous territorial lord of Zonlong City. Hence, he spent a lot of effort to set up the 10,000 dragons slaughtering formation. Other than being a defensive formation, it was also a killing formation. However, Xiao Fan would definitely not activate it casually unless it was absolutely necessary. This was because every time it was activated, the formation would consume a lot of energy. Most importantly, this had nothing to do with him at all. It had nothing to do with Zonlong City. Did they think he was a fool to activate the formation for no reason? Master Yi, you should know that the 10,000 dragons slaughtering formation consumes a lot of energy every time it is activated. Moreover, if I activate it casually, I won't be able to answer to Zonlong City. He was furious. Suppressing his anger, Yi Mo said, Territorial Lord Xiao, although the Sanskrit sound sect and the Territorial Lord's manor do not have any dealings, they are both in the Zonlong Tian domain. Is the Territorial Lord's manor not going to do anything? What a shameless Yi Mo. However, Xiao Fan smiled and said, Sect Master Yi may not know, but there are rumors everywhere that the person who killed the Great Elder is Longao from the Blackstone Heavenly region. Longao? Who is he? Yi Mo had been in seclusion all year round. He had never heard about the Blackstone domain. He looked at the people behind him. Immediately, someone came up and whispered to him. Yi Mo's face turned gloomy after hearing that. He had never thought that Longao had such a powerful background. He even had the backing of the Pill Palace. So, what if he had the backing of the Pill Palace? Could he kill the Great Elder of his sect as he wished? He snorted coldly. No matter how powerful the Pill Palace is, they can't do whatever they want in the chaotic world. There is still the Territorial Lord's alliance. Even if the Pill Palace comes, I will still kill him. Everyone knew that the master of the Sanskrit sound sect, Yi Mo, was highly valued by the Territorial Lord's alliance. This was also the reason why Yi Mo was not afraid of the Pill Palace. After all, the Sanskrit sound sect was in the right. Even if the Pill Palace came, what could they do? Xiao Fan did not say anything. He thought that even if Yemo was not afraid of the Pill Palace, it did not mean that he was not afraid of the Pill Palace. The Territorial Lords' alliance might go against the Pill Palace for Yemo, but they would not go against the Pill Palace for him. Just like the Blackstone Domain's Domain Lord's Manor and City Lord's Manor, the Territorial Lords' alliance did not say anything when the Pill Palace destroyed them. How could Yemo not know what Xiao Fan was thinking? However, if Longao was really in the Zone Long City, they would have to rely on the formation in the city. Otherwise, it would be difficult to locate him. Territorial Lord Xiao, do you want me to ask the Territorial Lords' alliance to come out? CK Xiao Fan cursed in his heart. He had never thought that Yemo would be so shameless. He actually used the Territorial Lords' alliance to suppress him. He could ignore Yemo and the Sanskrit sound sect, but he could not ignore the Territorial Lords' alliance. Because he knew that the Territorial Lords' alliance could remove him from the Territorial Lord's position at any time. Xiao Fan's expression changed again. He wished that he could tear Yemo into pieces. Territorial Lord Xiao, you should know that I was the one who gave you the Territorial Lord's position. Shouldn't you return the favor? Chapter 2989. Favor? It didn't matter if he didn't mention it. That was what Xiao Fan hated the most. Although what Yemo said was true, he was already the Territorial Lord. If this matter was mentioned again, it would be a matter of face. Yemo wouldn't have done that under normal circumstances, but now he was extremely angry. If he couldn't kill this person, the Sanskrit sound sect would be completely humiliated. He was furious. However, there was no other way. He definitely couldn't provoke Yemo. Okay, I'll do it now. Before activating the array, Xiao Fan first informed the entire Zone Long City. After all, he knew better than anyone what it meant to activate the array. An hour later, the 10,000 dragons slaughtering array had been fully activated. Without Xiao Fan's order, no one could leave Zone Long City. If they tried to leave, they would definitely be killed by the array. In fact, Yemo was also trying his luck. Under normal circumstances, since this person had killed the Great Elder, he would definitely leave Zone Long City. How could he continue to stay? Just as Yemo had guessed. After thinking about it, Longao decided to leave Zone Long City first because he didn't know what the Sanskrit sound sect had. There was really no need to take the risk. Fortunately, we came out in advance. I really didn't expect that Zone Long City would activate the 10,000 dragons slaughtering array. It seems that the Sanskrit sound sect is completely angry this time and put a lot of pressure on the Territorial Lord's mansion. With the 10,000 dragons slaughtering array activated, this person can't escape. Damn, are you stupid? This person killed the Great Elder and 2 guardians of the Sanskrit sound sect. Would he continue to stay in Zone Long City? If it were you, would you stay? Everyone suddenly realized. Indeed, with the strength of the Sanskrit sound sect, as long as this person wasn't a fool, he definitely wouldn't continue to stay in Zone Long City. Unless he had the strength of a divine emperor, he would definitely choose to leave. If that was the case, the Zone Long Sky domain was boundless. Even if the Sanskrit sound sect wanted to find this person, it would be impossible. Longao had heard all kinds of discussions. Of course, he already knew that the Zone Long City had activated a protective array, a dragon slaughtering array. Fortunately, he left in time. Otherwise, if he was trapped in the array, he really didn't know whether he could succeed. Boss, are we going to kill them? Or choose to leave? Since we have nothing to do, let's take a look at the Sanskrit sect.
Ha ha ha, alright.
Hearing that they were going to the Sanskrit sound sect, Blackie was pleasantly surprised. Of course, he knew what his boss meant. The Sanskrit sect probably wouldn't have thought of luring the tiger away from the mountain, even if they were beaten to death. The Sanskrit sound sect was the most powerful sect in the Zone Long Tian domain. It was far more powerful than the domain chief's manor. The present Sanskrit sound sect did not have a divine king powerhouse holding down the fort. What kind of concept was that? The 20 godly kings were all taken away by Yemo. As for the remaining godly kings, they all had their own people. In any case, none of them were in the Sanskrit sect. At this moment, The strongest warrior in the Sanskrit sound sect was only a peak martial master. Longao and Blackie appeared in the ninth heaven of the Sanskrit sound sect. Who is it? How dare you fly in the sky of the Sanskrit sound sect? If you don't come down, I'll kill you. Many disciples of the Sanskrit sound sect began to roar out furiously when they saw the man and beast stand there silently. However, they were afraid to go up because they could clearly sense that the man and beast were both peak overgods. Right at this moment, hundreds of overgods flew toward the sky of the Sanskrit sound sect. Flying in the sky of the Sanskrit sound sect was an act of provocation. If they did not kill the two of them, where would the Sanskrit sound sect's dignity go? Each of the hundreds of overgods was angrier than the last. They could not wait to tear the man and beast apart. But the outcome? Suddenly, Blackie's body began to expand. In just a few seconds, he had turned into a gigantic creature. Covering the entire sky, he began to devour everything. What is that? He's devouring the protectors. Given Blackie's strength, he could devour beginner-level godly kings, let alone overgods. Even peak overgods could be devoured easily, without any hindrance. Blackie began to devour madly. He devoured everyone he saw, be it beginner-level overgods, intermediate-level overgods, high-level overgods, or peak overgods. He devoured all of them without showing any mercy. Looking at how the gigantic spirit beast was devouring the protectors continuously, everyone from the Sanskrit sound sect was completely dumbfounded. Since when had they seen such a powerful spirit beast? Even peak overgods were devoured like beans. In just a few minutes, most of the hundreds of overgods were devoured. How would the remaining 20 or so overgods dare to continue looking for trouble? They wished that they could grow another pair of legs and run away immediately. But the outcome? Blackie laughed out maniacally. Instantly, all the remaining overgods were devoured cleanly. Hundreds of overgods could not even last for 10 minutes. What sort of a concept was that? Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Up till this moment, no one could figure out why someone would dare to provoke the Sanskrit sound sect. In the Zonglong Heaven region, the Sanskrit sound sect was the strongest existence. Even the domain chief's manor would not dare to provoke them casually, let alone others. Boss, should we destroy the Sanskrit sound sect now? Blackie didn't dare to take action immediately. Once he destroyed the Sanskrit sound sect, he would be immortal with Yemo's group. He knew what the result would be. If it was only Yemo, it wouldn't be a big deal. However, Yemo had the Territory Ancestor Alliance behind him. The Pill Temple didn't dare to provoke him. It was imaginable how intimidating the Territory Lord Alliance was. How could Longao not understand Blackie's intention? Since things had come to this point, no matter what, he had to destroy the Sanskrit sound sect. Without hesitation, he said, "Kill." That was what he wanted. Blackie did not care about anything else. He started his massacre immediately. Anyway, devouring one was devouring, and devouring 10,000 was the same. As Blackie continued to devour, the energy in his body became more and more. This time, the devouring would be of great help to him in refining the inheritance. He wondered if he could use this opportunity to break through to the early God King realm. Blackie knew that if his cultivation base could break through to the God King realm, he would be able to devour mid-level God Kings. As for whether he could devour high-level God Kings or not, no one knew. Longao did not take action. Blackie needed this power, but he did not. What he needed to do was to capture all the people who had run away. In just one day, the #1 sect in the Zonglong Heaven region, the Sanskrit sound sect, was completely destroyed. P.S. Don't scold me. I stayed up late last night, so little Nine took a nap in the afternoon. This is the 7th chapter. The next 3 chapters will be delivered soon. Even if I stay up late tonight, I will finish the last 10 chapters. Chapter 2990. Zonglong City. In the main hall of the Domain Master's mansion, With the activation of the 10,000 dragons slaughtering formation, the entire Zonglong city was dead because no one knew if the domain master's mansion and Sanskrit sound sect would be implicated or even kill the innocent. Master, it seems that this person has already left Zonglong city. Although Yi Mo was furious, he knew very well that as long as he was not a fool, he would have chosen to leave. He felt helpless. Master Yi, Longao has already left Zonglong city. Why don't we remove the formation? Okay. Just as Yi Mo was about to get up and leave, a divine king hurried over. A god king quickly walked in from outside. It was an elder of the Sanskrit sound sect. His face was filled with urgency and even fear. What's wrong? Master, something bad has happened. Longao and his spiritual beast have destroyed Sanskrit sound sect and swallowed everyone. Yi Mo stood up. His face was filled with anger and murderous intent. Not only Yi Mo, but even Xiao Fan was shocked. Longao had destroyed Sanskrit sound sect. Was that true? Are you kidding? Longao is only a peak lord. Even if his spiritual beast is powerful, it's impossible for him to destroy Sanskrit sound sect. Of course, Yi Mo did not believe it. With the foundation and strength of a sect, how could a person and a beast destroy the sect? Only a fool would believe that. However, this person was trembling with fear as he said, Sovereign, Longao has indeed destroyed the sect. Yi Mo suppressed the murderous intent in his heart. Even so, Yi Mo dashed out. The 20 divine kings followed behind him in fear. Ever since Sanskrit sound sect was founded tens of thousands of years ago, they had never encountered such a thing. How could the sect be destroyed? Looking at the people who had left quickly, the first thing Xiao Fan did was to remove the formation as quickly as possible. Until then, Xiao Fan still could not believe that Longao would destroy Sanskrit sound sect. It was a shameless move to lure the tiger away from the mountain. However, it made sense after thinking about it. Yi Mo had brought 20 godly kings with him. The remaining godly kings had all left the sect. Since Longao could kill a peak godly king, then destroying the Sanskrit sound sect wouldn't be difficult. All of a sudden, Xiao Fan smiled. If Yi Mo and the others were all killed by Longao, then it would be a very satisfying thing. After being suppressed by Yi Mo for tens of thousands of years, the anger and killing intent in his heart could be imagined. Sanskrit sect. Now, the Sanskrit sound sect was in ruins. Tens of thousands of people had been devoured. Countless people were peeking around, but no one dared to get close. Standing quietly on top of the ruins, Yi Mo's face was expressionless. The 20 God King elders did not dare to say anything. It was exceptionally quiet. What kind of person do you think Longao is? How dare you destroy the Sanskrit sect? You may not know this, but according to the rumors, Longao seems to be from the Black Stone Heavenly region. He's the demonized warrior who killed Nangong Qin. Demonized? Everyone gasped. Many of them were familiar with Nangong Qin's identity. He was the son of the Black Stone Heavenly region's domain lord. This person dared to kill Nangong Qin. No wonder he dared to provoke the Sanskrit sect. However, what they could not figure out was that even if this person was crazy, he should know his place. The Sanskrit sound sect was not something the Black Stone Heavenly region could compare with. Daring to provoke the Sanskrit sound sect, they all knew what it meant. I wonder what Master Yi will do? What else can you do? If your sect is destroyed, what will you do? On top of the ruins, Yi Mo suddenly looked up to the sky and roared. His roar was filled with endless killing intent. Longao, even if you run to the end of the world, I'll tear you into pieces. Tear your ass. Who do you think you are? How dare you tear my boss into pieces? F***CK. If it wasn't because my boss didn't allow me to do it, I would have swallowed you. Just as Yi Mo was roaring crazily, a mocking voice came from the void. It sounded very arrogant, as if he did not put Yi Mo in his eyes at all. Yi Mo and the others were stunned. Who do you think you are? Come out if you dare. The space domain was released. Not only Yi Mo, but the other 20 God King elders also began to release their space domain to lock down the surroundings. However, there was no progress at all. What was going on? Yemo obviously knew that Longao had a heaven-defying space divine tool. Even Xiao Fan could not lock down the space domain. It was easy to imagine how heaven-defying the space domain Longao's space divine tool was. Longao, come out if you dare. Don't be a coward. Who do you think you are? Yemo, you old bastard, did not say anything. Why are you standing out?
Piss off, or I'll swallow you.
What an arrogant tone. As an elder of the Sanskrit sound sect, Zhang Fuhai had never been humiliated like this. He immediately roared furiously, "You coward! Come out and fight me if you dare. What are you hiding in the space domain for?"
Haha, that's enough, old man.
A fair fight?
If I go out, it won't be a fair fight.
It will be you bullying me with numbers. Do you think I'm a fool? Or are you a fool? As long as you dare to come out, I can guarantee with my dignity that I will fight you fairly. The others will not interfere. How about it? Your dignity?
What dignity do you have?
Your Sanskrit sound sect is a bunch of shameless people. What dignity do you have to talk to me about? But since you're here, I'll fulfill your wish, and fulfill your wish this time. Zhang Fuhai had just broken through to the Divine King realm. Even if Xiao He had not become a Divine King yet, it would not be difficult for him to swallow Zhang Fuhai. Then, Longao and Xiao He's figures suddenly appeared, standing proudly in the void. Seeing the man and beast appear, everyone was shocked. However, most of them were impressed. He dared to come out after destroying the Sanskrit sound sect. Just this courage alone was unmatched. You are Longao? You are the master of the Sanskrit sound sect, Yemo? Zhang Fuhai immediately bowed respectfully to Yemo, master. Please fulfill my wish. Yemo obviously did not want to. However, things had already come to this. If he refused, wouldn't he become a joke? Even if he did not want to, Yemo still nodded and said, "Goes.
Thank you, master."
Boss, watch me swallow this old bastard for you. Longao was naturally not worried about Xiao He's swallow the heavens ability. As long as the opponent was not a mid-level divine king or above, Xiao He could completely swallow him. Be careful. Once you swallow this person, immediately return to my chaotic Dantian. Longao and Xiao He's relationship did not need to be explained. With just a thought, Xiao He could instantly return to his chaotic Dantian. Thus, Longao was not very worried. P.S. Chapter 8 sent here. Chapter 2991. A level 4 spiritual beast dares to be so arrogant. I want to see what you're capable of. Zhang Fuhai didn't put Blackie in his eyes. In his opinion, Blackie was just a level 4 spiritual beast. So, what if it was a peak level 4 spiritual beast? Overgods and divine kings weren't on the same level. The gap between the two was too big. Old man, I'll let you know the power of the devouring heaven divine ability. He didn't want to continue talking nonsense. Blackie's figure suddenly disappeared. In order to end the battle quickly, he began to devour Blackie. Zhang Fuhai was still a primary divine king. Even if Blackie was powerful, he couldn't devour him in seconds. Countless people were watching the battle. It was still unknown whether they would win or lose this battle. Be careful. Someone beside Yemo immediately exclaimed. Haraha, it's too late for me to act.
Ah.
Zhang Fuhai was completely terrified. He didn't expect Blackie's divine ability to be so powerful. He finally knew why Blackie could devour everyone in the Sanskrit sound sect. However, it was too late for regrets. Blackie wouldn't give him any chance to regret. Blackie couldn't devour Zhang Fuhai in seconds, but he could devour Zhang Fuhai in 3 moves. This was the power of the chaotic heaven-devouring beast. Crack. A primary divine king was devoured just like that. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, they wouldn't believe it. Blackie's powerful strength had completely shocked everyone around, including Yemo. I'll tear you apart alive. All the other divine kings returned. Now, the number of divine kings in the Sanskrit sound sect had reached a terrifying 40. Seeing Zhang Fuhai being devoured in front of their eyes, They would be lying if they said they weren't angry. Yemo waved his hand and suppressed the anger in his heart. He said coldly, "You do have some skills. Longao, no matter what your motive is, you destroyed my Sanskrit sound sect. You're unforgivable. Even if you have the pill hall behind you, you still have to die." Longao didn't care at all. If he was afraid, he wouldn't have done it. Yemo, Miao Zhongyi's death was his own fault. I destroyed the Sanskrit sound sect to teach you a lesson. If you still want to fight, I'll accompany you anytime. In the next second, the figures of Longao and Blackie instantly disappeared and entered the chaotic Dantian. Yemo didn't stop him because he was using all his strength to lock onto the other party. However, he helplessly discovered that even his aura couldn't lock onto the other party. The spatial artifact in his opponent's hand was truly heaven-defying.
Greed.
Yemo couldn't wait to get his hands on the spatial artifact. Over 40 God Kings immediately unleashed their spatial powers, stacking up the surrounding space. This way, even if the enemy had a spatial artifact, he wouldn't be able to leave this place. Inside the chaotic Dantian. "Boss, we can't go on like this. We can only deal with early-stage God Kings. Even if we work together, we won't be a match for mid-stage God Kings." How could Longao not know the meaning of Blackie's words? "Blackie, our goal is not to kill Yemo and the others. I want to make a name for myself." Longao had already thought it through. Just sitting and waiting for death was not going to work. The best way was to use his strength to tell everyone that even if they wanted to provoke the killing god, they should not provoke him. In the end, Longao still wanted to pave the way for his family. Blackie nodded excitedly. It was fine as long as he could fight. It seemed like he was born to fight. The news of the mysterious spiritual beast devouring the God King elders of a Sanskrit sound sect had already spread throughout the entire Zhonglong region. This person was truly a little too crazy, as if he was targeting the Sanskrit sound sect. Longao's identity had already been revealed. Could this person be a fighter? Not only did he offend the domain Lord Manor of the Blackstone region, but he also offended the Sanskrit sound sect of the Zhonglong region. If it was someone else, they would avoid him. Blackstone region. Dragon City, City Lord Manor. After receiving the news, Han Feng was completely convinced. He said helplessly, "This Longao really knows how to find trouble. How long has it been since he left Dragon City?" He actually destroyed the Sanskrit sound sect and devoured 2 God Kings. He felt a headache because everyone knew that Longao's backer was the Pill Hall. The domain Lord Manor of the Blackstone region was one thing, but the Sanskrit sound sect was not something the Blackstone region could compare with. The Sanskrit sound sect was backed by the Domain Lord Alliance. "Big brother, you must help Brother Long this time. Otherwise, he'll be in big trouble." Han Yin was also helpless. However, no matter what Longao did, she would support him unconditionally. Han Feng shook his head helplessly and said, "You know better than me what the Sanskrit sound sect means. There's an elder in the Domain Lord Alliance who is Yemo's family member. Even the Pill Hall would not dare to provoke the Domain Lord Alliance." How could Hani not know what her big brother was talking about? Big brother. All right. Although Longao is reckless and crazy, I like his character. If it's someone else, it's impossible for him to do such a thing. Han Feng admired Longao in his heart. However, this matter was indeed troublesome. He needed to think about it at length. "Little Yin, other than Longao's matter, I came to find you for another matter. The two of us can't stay here forever, so..." Before Han Feng could finish, Han Yin said, "I won't leave the Dragon City." Han Feng understood his sister's character very well. She would not change her mind once she decided on something, especially when she liked Longao. This matter was even more troublesome. After a deep sigh, Han Feng said helplessly, "Since it's like that, I'll stay here with you for a while. I'll tell father about this matter later." Zhonglong Heaven region. The Sanskrit sound sect was already in ruins. This time, Longao was ruthless enough to uproot the Sanskrit sound sect. Apart from the sect master, Yemo, there were only 40-odd God King elders. As for the disciples, there were less than 100. For such a sect, let alone being ranked first, it was unknown whether they could even enter the top 10. However, as long as EMO and the 40 God Kings were alive, the Sanskrit sound sect would not be truly destroyed. As long as they recovered their lost foundation, the Sanskrit sound sect would become the greatest sect in the Zonglong Heaven region in the future. However, EMO and the others were extremely depressed right now. Although they had locked the space around them, they were still unable to lock onto the opponent's spatial divine tool. If it was before, they would definitely be able to lock onto it. However, the situation was completely different now. Longao's primal chaos palace had already fused with his Dantian. Let alone EMO, even a peak god king might not be able to lock onto it. P.S. Little Nine asks everyone to stop cursing. Little Nine hasn't rested. It's just that writing at night takes longer. It's already past 2. Hurry up and finish the last chapter. Chapter 2992. Both parties were still in a stalemate. In the chaotic Dantian, Longao stood up suddenly and said with a smile, "Blackie, time to work." "Boss, what are we doing?" Blackie was curious as he did not know what his boss was going to do. There are 42 God Kings outside, and 12 of them are beginner God Kings. What we need to do is to defeat them one by one and get rid of them. Hearing his boss's words, Blackie's face lit up. He loved to fight. If he could devour 12 beginner God Kings, he would be able to refine the inheritance in his body and break through to the peak over God realm and become a God King. He was excited. The moon was high, and the sky was dark. The moment Longao and Blackie left the chaotic Dantian, they went around the lock-on as fast as they could. It was impossible for EMO to lock onto them all the time. As for the 40 Overgod elders, they were split into a few groups and took turns to lock onto them. Longao and Blackie had already discussed that once they left the chaotic Dantian, they would devour beginner God Kings as fast as they could. Crack. Without anyone noticing. With Blackie's heaven-devouring mystique and strength, he could even devour beginner God Kings in seconds if he were to launch a sneak attack. In just an instant, a beginner divine king was forcefully swallowed just like that. Before anyone could even react, the man and the beast that had just attacked suddenly disappeared from where they were once again. What's going on? Master, Elder Wang has been devoured. Another elder had been devoured, especially right under his nose. EMO forcefully suppressed the anger in his heart, and he almost couldn't breathe. Ever since he broke through to the God Emperor realm, he had never encountered something like this. To him, this was a great humiliation. EMO turned around and left. His voice came from afar. Continue to lock onto him. Don't let him escape. At the bottom of the ruins, in a huge cave, EMO looked at the seal before him and said, "As long as you help me once, you can regain your freedom. How about that?" In the seal, a furious roar came. "If not for your father's tricks back then, would he have sealed me?" EMO scoffed and said nonchalantly, "Heavenly Phantom Wolf, do you think my father is still as strong as he was back then?" There was silence. "Your father broke through? What do you think?" The Heavenly Phantom Wolf's arrogance suddenly disappeared without a trace. It knew very well that with the other party's breakthrough, it was almost impossible for it to take revenge. "What do you want me to do?" The Heavenly Phantom Wolf was a level 6 divine beast. Furthermore, it was one of the strongest level 6 divine beasts. EMO knew very well that it was impossible for him to lock onto the other party's position by himself. With the help of the Heavenly Phantom Wolf, it would be a whole different story. There's someone who isn't that strong, but he has a spatial artifact. I can't lock onto him, so I need your help.
Sure.
The seal was undone in an instant, and a figure quickly came out of the seal. It was a 2-meter-tall giant black wolf. It was the level 6 divine beast, Heavenly Phantom Wolf. At the top of the ruins, a man and a wolf suddenly appeared. The Heavenly Phantom Wolf's powerful aura instantly covered the sky, enveloping the surrounding space. 6th level divine beast? Sensing the powerful aura released by the Heavenly Phantom Wolf, Everyone's heart trembled. Everyone knew what a level 6 divine beast meant. It was a super existence that was equivalent to a divine emperor. Since when did the sect have such a level 6 divine beast expert? There were still many people around who had not left. Many of them wanted to see what the final outcome would be. How is it? Yemo was very anxious. He did not know if the heavenly phantom wolf could lock onto the other party's position. If it still could not lock onto the other party's position, then there was only one final solution, which was to ask his father for help. However, if he really did that, where would he put his face? He really did not have the face to ask his father for help to deal with a mere peek over God. I can't lock onto it. However, I can sense that there's a place where the spatial energy is a little strange. If I'm not mistaken, the heavenly phantom wolf didn't continue speaking, but its meaning was very clear. Yemo was no fool. Of course, he knew what the heavenly phantom wolf meant. He took a step forward and disappeared from where he was with the heavenly phantom wolf. In the next second, they had arrived at the strange place. Heavenly phantom wolf, attack. Without waiting for Yemo to say anything, the heavenly phantom wolf had already attacked. The power released from its body began to disturb the surrounding space with a strange fluctuation. Chaotic Dantian. Longao suddenly felt that his Dantian seemed to be locked onto. He was shocked. He was very confident in his chaotic Dantian, especially after the Chaos Palace had merged with his Dantian. Not to mention a beginner Divine Emperor, even a peak Divine Emperor, might not be able to lock onto his position. Since that was the case, what was going on? Why had his Dantian been locked down by someone for no reason? This aura was very strange, and it was even more sinister. Boss, what's going on? Xiaohe saw that his boss's expression was not right and immediately asked. Our position has been locked onto by someone, so that was it. Xiaohe was not worried at all. He said with a smile, Boss, don't tease me. Your Dantian has already merged with the Chaos Palace. Even if the other party has locked onto you, what can they do? Xiaohe, there's something you don't know. Since this person can lock onto my position, he must be extraordinary. My chaotic Dantian has just merged with my Dantian. I don't know what will happen, so we have to take the initiative. Longao was very afraid of someone who could lock onto his position. He did not continue to stay in his chaotic Dantian. In the next second, his figure appeared outside the Chaos Palace. Level 6 Divine Beast? Longao was shocked when he sensed that the Divine Beast beside Yemo was a Level 6 Divine Beast. A Level 6 Divine Beast was equivalent to a Divine Emperor. Since the other party could lock onto his chaotic Dantian, it was obvious what this Level 6 Divine Beast meant. You finally showed up. Yemo sighed when he saw Longao being forced out. The heavenly phantom wolf's strength was needless to say. If his father had not played some tricks, he would not have been able to seal the heavenly phantom wolf for so many years. But now there was no need to be afraid. His father had successfully broken through his cultivation. As long as the heavenly phantom wolf was not stupid, it would not cause trouble for his father. You're the one who locked onto my position? The heavenly phantom wolf did not care about the other party at all. It smiled and said, Kill yourself, and I can leave your corpse intact. P.S. All 10 chapters have been delivered. It's past 3. Xiaojiu is going to rest. Good night, everyone. Chapter 2993. Not to mention the heavenly phantom wolf, even Yemo did not place Longao in his eyes. A mere peak lord was no different from an ant. If it wasn't for the fact that he was afraid of the spatial artifact in this person's hands, Yemo wouldn't have released the seal and released the heavenly phantom wolf. Ha 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 you? Looking at the arrogant young man, the heavenly phantom wolf seemed a little surprised. What an arrogant person. Heavenly phantom wolf, leave this to me. You can leave first. However, the heavenly phantom wolf shook its head and said, I'll help you deal with this person. As for his items, I don't want that spatial artifact. Leave everything else to me. Since things had come to this, Yemo knew that he had to agree. Please. As soon as Yemo finished speaking, the heavenly phantom wolf's figure had already rushed out. In terms of speed, the heavenly phantom wolf was much faster than the other divine emperors. You dare to go against boss? I'll swallow you. Seeing that the heavenly phantom wolf wanted to kill its boss, Blackie was completely enraged. Regardless of whether the other party was a so-called level 6 divine beast or not, he directly used the heaven-devouring divine ability to forcefully devour the heavenly phantom wolf. Blackie, you can't. Longao was startled when he saw Little Hay trying to swallow it. He immediately stopped Little Hay. But it was too late.
Boom.
With a loud sound, Xiao Hei's body flew back. It was obvious that it had been devoured by the heavenly phantom wolf. The difference in strength between the two was too great. How could it forcefully devour the heavenly phantom wolf? You are a heaven-devouring beast? The heavenly phantom wolf did not continue attacking. Instead, it looked at the spirit beast in front of it in horror, as if it had encountered something inexplicable. Shock and disbelief were written all over its face. Martial artists might not know what a heaven-devouring beast meant, but as a rank 6 spiritual beast, how could the heavenly phantom wolf not know what a heaven-devouring beast meant? Heaven-devouring beast? Heavenly phantom wolf, what is a heaven-devouring beast? Yimo's intuition told him that the spirit beast by Longao's side was definitely not simple. Thinking about it, he felt relieved. This spirit beast was able to devour over 10,000 people, and it had even devoured the first elder. Just by thinking about it, one could imagine how powerful it was. Most importantly, this spiritual beast was only in the 4th rank. It was hard to imagine how terrifying its strength would be if it broke through the 5th rank, or even the 6th rank. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. All of a sudden, the heavenly phantom wolf suddenly raised its head and laughed maniacally. Could it be that his luck had come? The more he thought about it, the more excited he became. Yimo's heart skipped a beat when he saw the heavenly phantom wolf laughing maniacally. Before Yimo could say anything, the heavenly phantom wolf spoke again. Yimo, I don't want anything. I only want this heaven-devouring beast. Moreover, as long as you fulfill my wish, we will be friends in the future.
Ha!
Hearing the heavenly phantom wolf's words, not only did Yimo not feel excited in the slightest, but he instead fell into deep thought. The heavenly phantom wolf was willing to give up everything else but this spirit beast. Just thinking about it made one realize what it meant. You repulsive heavenly wolf, you actually dare to have designs on me? I'd like to see what you're going to do today. Longao didn't say anything. He never thought that the other party would recognize Blackie's identity at a glance.
Kill.
He had to kill the heavenly phantom wolf. Xiao Hei's identity could not be leaked. Otherwise, he could imagine the consequences. Blackie's background was not simple.
What? You don't want to?
Seeing that Yimo didn't say anything, the heavenly phantom wolf's face instantly turned gloomy. It finally encountered a heaven-devouring beast. Not to mention Yimo. Even if Yimo's father came, he would fight with his life on the line.
Please.
Even if he was extremely unwilling, Yimo could only agree. After all, once the heavenly phantom wolf got angry, he would probably go for wool and come home shorn. Ha ha ha. God is helping me. God is really helping me. The heavenly phantom wolf suppressed the excitement in its heart because it knew very well that as long as it could successfully devour the heaven-devouring beast, it could definitely advance to the top of the divine beasts. What a retard! Of course, Longao knew that with his and Blackie's strength, they were no match for the other party. However, if he wanted to leave, the other party wouldn't be able to stop him. In the next second, Blackie's figure instantly disappeared, while Longao turned around and took a step forward. His figure instantly disappeared without a trace. Wanna leave? Since things had already come to this, how could the heavenly phantom wolf choose to give up so easily? It immediately chased after him. Of course, Yimo wouldn't hold back either. They had already agreed that the heaven-devouring beast belonged to the heavenly phantom wolf. As for the other things on Longao, they would all belong to him. The remaining 41 god kings all stayed behind. After the previous lesson, the Sanskrit sound sect was terrified. Now that they thought about it, it was still vivid in their minds. If the other party lured them away again, the Sanskrit sound sect would really have no face to continue staying in the Zonglong sky region. Heavenly Phantom Wolf, since you treat me as a friend, please tell me where the heaven-devouring beast came from. Yi Mo was eager to know where the heaven-devouring beast came from. However, there was nothing he could do if the Heavenly Phantom Wolf refused to tell him. As expected, the Heavenly Phantom Wolf shook its head and said, Yi Mo, I've already said that I only need the heaven-devouring beast. Everything else is yours. I don't even want the spatial god artifact. Do you still want the heaven-devouring beast? The Heavenly Phantom Wolf really did not want Yi Mo to take action. No matter what, Yi Mo's strength was there for all to see. Once he took action, it really would be troublesome. The man and the beast both had their own plans. Since you've already said that, of course, I won't take it from you. Let's work together and kill this person. Then, the heaven-devouring beast will belong to you.
All right.
The man and the beast reached an agreement. They pushed their speed to the limit as they chased after Longao with all their might. However, gradually the two of them discovered in shock that although the other party was only a peak over God, he was extremely fast. Even when they chased after him with all their might, they were unable to catch up to him. What did this mean? If they had not seen it with their own eyes, they would have found it hard to believe that a mere peak over God could move so terrifyingly fast. However, the Heavenly Phantom Wolf was not slow either. The difference between the two of them grew smaller and smaller. If this continued, the Heavenly Phantom Wolf would probably catch up to Longao in a few dozen minutes at most. Longao became more and more stern. If this continued, it would indeed be very dangerous for him. As for entering his chaotic dantian, it was quite risky because he had no idea whether the Heavenly Phantom Wolf could destroy his chaotic dantian or not. Even if it was dangerous, he was unwilling to take the risk. What should he do? Chapter 2994. Yi Mo could not figure it out. Although Longao was only a peak lord, he was so fast that even Yi Mo and the Heavenly Phantom Wolf could not catch up with him. If that was the case, even if Yi Mo was a peak lord, no one would be able to do anything to him. Yi Mo could not figure out how he could be so fast. Yi Mo, according to my guess, the reason why he is so fast is that he has used his life essence. He won't be able to hold on for long. That's good. Just like what the Heavenly Phantom Wolf said, Longao was fast, but he was only a peak lord. He could not be faster than the man and the beast. In order to shake them off completely, Longao could only burn his life essence to increase his speed. Although he could increase his speed in a short period of time, it was very harmful to him. However, there was nothing he could do about it. A level 6 divine beast and a middle-level divine emperor. When the two of them joined forces, he and Xiaohe were definitely no match for them. Once they were caught, the consequences would be obvious. Even so, Longao still could not shake off the Heavenly Phantom Wolf completely. After all, the Heavenly Phantom Wolf was just too fast. Its speed was comparable to a peak god emperor's, or even beyond that. Broken Soul Cliff. One of the forbidden places in Zonglong Heaven Domain. No one, not even a god emperor, would dare to step into Broken Soul Cliff casually under normal circumstances. Unknowingly, Longao had already arrived at Broken Soul Cliff. Without even thinking, he was ready to step into Broken Soul Cliff. However, the result? Heavenly Phantom Wolf and Yi Mo arrived together. They did not show any mercy, and slapped him directly. The difference between a peak lord and a god emperor was just too great. They were not on the same level at all.
Poof.
Longao spat out a mouthful of blood. He was hit by the two god emperors. His body flew backward like a kite with a broken string. No one knew if he was dead or alive. Seeing that the Heavenly Phantom Wolf was about to enter Broken Soul Cliff, Yi Mo quickly stopped him. What's wrong? Broken Soul Cliff is one of the forbidden places in Zonglong Heaven Domain. It is also the place where martial artists die. If you enter it, the chances of you coming out alive are slim. You have to think it through. I don't want to lose a friend like you. How could the heavenly phantom wolf not know what Emo was thinking? If it had been anything else, it would have been fine. However, the heaven-devouring beast was the only one he could not let go of. Heavenly phantom wolf, I still want to know the origin of the heaven-devouring beast. If it had been a moment ago, the heavenly phantom wolf wouldn't have said a word. However, the situation was different now. Heaven-devouring beast. Its full name should be Primordial Heaven-Devouring Beast. There is only one in the entire primal chaos realm.
Ah?
Feeling somewhat shocked, Emo did not say anything. However, he knew very well what it meant that there was only one primal chaos heaven-devouring beast. If the heaven-devouring beast was at its peak, not to mention you and me, even your father would be trash before it. He became more and more shocked. Emo was well aware of his father's current strength. To think that he was not even an ant in front of the heaven-devouring beast. It was hard to imagine just how monstrous the heaven-devouring beast was at its peak. You want to devour him? Emo was no fool. Of course, he knew what the heavenly phantom wolf meant. As expected, the heavenly phantom wolf nodded and said, "Not only me, I believe that no matter which divine beast devours the heaven-devouring beast, they will inherit his inheritance and reach his peak state in the future. You still want to enter?" The heavenly phantom wolf nodded and did not say anything more. Even though it knew that there was only a slim chance of survival, it still rushed in order to devour the heaven-devouring beast. In the blink of an eye, it had disappeared without a trace. Emo gritted his teeth and rushed towards the breaking soul cliff. Since divine beasts could devour the heaven-devouring beast, then he might be able to devour it as well. If he could borrow the power of the heaven-devouring beast to increase his cultivation, then it would be worth the risk. Inside the breaking soul cliff, Longao was attacked by two godly emperors at the same time. Even if he had an immortal body, he was in a bad situation. Even so, Longao endured the waves of weakness coming from his body, gritted his teeth, and ran away quickly. The chi in the breaking soul cliff was very strange. It began to devour Longao's blood and primordial spirit. It was impossible for it to devour his primordial spirit. The power of the breaking soul cliff could not erode his primordial spirit at all.
Plop.
Longao's body fell down. The chaotic dantian in his body sealed itself so that Little Black could not come out. Longao did not know what happened when he fainted. Even if he was attacked by two divine emperors at the same time, he would not be in such a state. Especially after entering the breaking soul cliff, he could not even hold on for a few minutes before fainting. Right at this moment, the mysterious power that had already invaded Longao's body was directly expelled. The surrounding strange power began to form a cocoon around Longao's body, a huge black cocoon. After a short while, the heavenly phantom wolf and Emo had already arrived at this place. Looking at the huge cocoon in front of them, the man and the beast were very shocked. They did not know what had happened. Why would Longao be enveloped by the strange power all around him? What should we do? Attack? The heavenly phantom wolf could not wait any longer. The two divine emperors began to attack the cocoon crazily. However, they were still wary of the strange power that was eroding their primordial spirit and blood. No wonder the breaking soul cliff was a forbidden area. If an ordinary warrior or even a martial king stepped into it, the result would be obvious. The attacks of the two god kings were useless. The huge black cocoon didn't even budge. Both the heavenly phantom wolf and Emo were shocked. It seemed that they had no other choice but to defend the cocoon to the death. Inside the huge cocoon, Longao's mind began to circulate the 9-revolution chaos formula. If he could continue to break through, then it would be the so-called 7th revolution. What kind of concept was that? The first 6 revolutions of the 9-revolution chaos formula were the first revolution not entering the underworld, the second revolution space teleportation, and the third revolution reincarnation clone. The fourth revolution reincarnation heavenly eye, the fifth revolution shattering the starry sky, and the sixth revolution controlling the starry sky. All along, Longao had been looking forward to breaking through the seventh revolution of the nine-revolution chaos formula. He wanted to know what kind of divine powers he would get. After all, the divine powers of the first six revolutions were not there yet. No matter how hard he tried, Longao had not been able to break through. However, he did not expect that the nine-revolution chaos formula that had not broken through for a long time would be loosened at this moment. It might even break through now. Chapter 2995. There was a loud boom. Within Longao's essence spirit, there was a loud boom. The nine revolutions chaos mantra that had been stuck at the seventh revolution had finally broken through. Even though Longao was already unconscious, he was still clear about the situation. His essence spirit could feel the breakthrough of the nine revolutions chaos mantra. It was just for an instant. All of the information regarding the seventh revolution of the nine revolutions chaos mantra gushed into his mind. The birth of chaos, the indestructible great Tao, the reproduction of chaos, the nine revolutions chaos mantra. At this moment, Longao finally understood that the first six revolutions of the nine revolutions chaos mantra were actually paving the way for the next three revolutions. Only by breaking through to the seventh revolution could one comprehend the great Tao. With this, Longao could clearly sense how difficult it was to break through to the next three revolutions. Let's not talk about the eighth and ninth revolutions first. Just the fact that he had just broken through to the seventh revolution was not something that could be done overnight. In fact, whether or not he could even reach the limits was still an unknown. Just as expected. It was just as Longao had guessed. With the breakthrough of the seventh revolution of the nine revolutions chaos mantra, he had obtained a mystic skill as well. But the outcome, not only did he obtain a mystic skill, he obtained a total of 4 mystic skills. If it were the same as before, it would be great to obtain a mystic skill after breaking through. But right now, the situation was completely different. The 4 mystic skills had to be comprehended one by one. The seventh revolution of chaos gave birth to a total of 4 mystic skills. In ascending order, they were the first mystic skill, God's punishment, the second mystic skill, path destruction, the third mystic skill, forbidden realm, and the fourth mystic skill, reincarnation. Each mystic skill had a total of 9 states. Only by comprehending all of them to their limits could one continue to comprehend. In other words, after comprehending the God's punishment mystic skill, if one wanted to continue to comprehend the second mystic skill, path destruction, one would have to reach the pinnacle of the 9 stages of God's punishment. The pinnacle was instantaneous. Only then could one continue to comprehend. The 4 mystic skills had a total of 36 states. He had thought that his cultivation state would skyrocket after breaking through to the 7th revolution. To think that he would still be at the peak of Master God. Seemed like if he wanted to break through to the Martial King state, he would have to master the power of space. But thankfully, with the breakthrough of the 7th revolution of the 9 revolutions chaos mantra, he had already comprehended the 2nd stage God's punishment. This mystic skill was extremely powerful and did not seem to be affected by the power of space. What was this concept? In other words, just by comprehending the 2nd level of divine punishment, he was already able to kill a primary god king. It was hard to imagine what would happen if he could comprehend the 9th level of divine punishment. Especially when he could comprehend the 9th level of divine punishment, wouldn't he be able to kill a god emperor? However, whether or not he could kill a divine emperor after comprehending the pinnacle of 9 nines to 1 was still unknown. However, he would definitely be able to kill a peak divine king in an instant. There was no doubt about that. He gradually woke up. Looking at the huge black cocoon that enveloped him, Longao could clearly sense 2 powerful auras outside the cocoon. Without a doubt, one was Yemo, and the other was definitely the heavenly phantom wolf. He felt helpless. Longao knew that even though he had successfully broken through to the 7th revolution of the 9 revolution chaos formula, he was still no match for the 2 god emperors. Crack, crack, crack. As the huge black cocoon continued to emit cracking sounds, Longao broke out of the cocoon at the fastest speed and continued to head towards the depths of the broken soul cliff. Before Yemo and the heavenly phantom wolf could react, they already saw a figure breaking out of the cocoon. The two of them did not expect that Longao would come out at this time. It was too sudden.
Chase.
Since things had already come to this, how could they choose to give up? Having just comprehended the second level of divine punishment, Longao also wanted to try the first divine punishment that came from breaking through to the seventh revolution of the 9-revolution chaos formula. He wanted to see how powerful the divine punishment was. Divine punishment. The two words came out of Longao's mouth. Then, the man and the beast who were chasing with all their strength suddenly felt a strange aura around them. It was very strange. What was going on? Not daring to be careless, the man and the beast released all their strength and forcibly broke the pressure of the aura that suddenly descended. The power of the second level of divine punishment alone was not enough to bring any trouble to the God Emperors. However, Longao did not intend to use the second level of divine punishment to injure the two of them. He just wanted to bring them some trouble. He did not want to continue to use his life essence blood. After all, forcibly using his life essence blood would cause a great loss to him. Unless it was absolutely necessary, it was better not to use it. Just as expected, the divine punishment descended, and the two God Emperors slowed down a lot. In this way, Longao's speed increased, and the distance between them increased again. The man and the beast did not expect the sudden pressure of the aura to come from Longao. After all, Longao was only a peak-over god. It was impossible for him to do this. In the man and the beast's eyes, the sudden pressure of the aura came from the breaking soul cliff itself. Just as the two of them were about to speed up, the pressure of the aura that they had just broken suddenly descended again. It was very depressing. This aura was very strange. Even if it could not cause them any harm, it could slow them down. Something is not right. Why is this aura only suppressing us and not Longao? Not only Yemo, but even the heavenly phantom wolf had noticed that something was wrong. Even so, the heavenly phantom wolf still said, "Don't tell me that this is Longao's doing. He doesn't have the ability to do that." Yemo was unwilling to admit it. However, his intuition told him that this had something to do with Longao. As for what was wrong, he could not tell. If this continues, it will be almost impossible for us to catch up to Longao. Yemo, let's use our life essence blood to speed up at the same time. What do you think? Just as Yemo was about to agree, Longao's figure suddenly disappeared. What was going on? Unknowingly, one man and one beast had already entered a black fog. Even if it was them, they were unable to see the situation around them clearly. At most, they could only see the situation within 1 meter. Under this situation, wanting to lock onto Longao's position was like a fool's dream. I can't lock onto a soul. At most, it's within 1 meter. We're in trouble. We should have burned our life essence blood to speed up before. If anything happens to him... Yemo did not continue. He sighed deeply. He had never thought that he would run into such a troublesome situation. We have to find him, no matter what. I have to get the heaven-devouring beast. The heavenly phantom wolf became slightly frustrated when it thought about the heaven-devouring beast. The two of them began to rise up as quickly as they could. So, what if it was within 1 meter? The two of them began to lock onto Longao's position. Chapter 2996. Surrounded by the black fog, one couldn't see more than 1 meter away. Even a divine emperor expert couldn't do anything in such a situation. The heavenly phantom wolf and Yemo frantically locked onto Longao's position from left and right. However, it was a little unrealistic to want to lock onto a person's position in this kind of situation. The longer it dragged on, the more unfavorable it would be for them. We can't go on like this. The phantom wolf nodded. How could it not know what Yemo said? So what if it knew? But it couldn't do anything. It was helpless. Do you have a way? Why don't we leave here and wait? There seemed to be no other way. The heavenly phantom wolf was extremely unwilling, but since things had already come to this, it seemed that this was the only way. Let's go. When the man and the beast left, Longao was still walking around in the black fog, as if he was trapped inside. The more he walked, the more frightened he was. If this goes on, I won't be able to get out for the rest of my life. It's not a formation, nor an illusion. What is it? He couldn't figure it out. He really couldn't figure it out. Longao quietly sensed the aura around him, trying to find the exit. In the end, he found nothing. Broken soul cliff? Suddenly, Longao seemed to have thought of something. He didn't continue to sense with his primordial spirit, but with his instincts. As expected, it was simply wishful thinking to rely on his primordial spirit to sense to leave this place. Just like that. Longao relied on his instincts to sense the aura and quickly walked out of the black fog. Even if the man and the beast were beaten to death, they wouldn't have thought that the black fog was surrounded by exits. Longao was very lucky. Among the 4 exits, he chose the opposite side of the man and the beast. If he wanted to wait, the result would be obvious. You're finally here. As soon as he left the black fog, a small straw hut appeared in front of Longao. In front of the straw hut, a lazy old man was sitting on a stone bench, looking sickly and sickly. However, Longao was very afraid of him, because even he couldn't sense his strength.
What kind of concept was that?
In other words, the lazy old man in front of the thatched hut was far stronger than the heavenly phantom wolf and Yemo. He even gave off an unfathomable feeling, which was almost exactly the same as the feeling Nangong In gave him.
Who are you?
Do you know me? Ha ha ha, you don't even recognize your old friend. But I don't blame you. After all, you haven't awakened your primordial spirit. Sure enough, Longao had already guessed that the old man in front of the thatched hut definitely knew him. As things became more and more complicated, he wanted to awaken his primordial spirit more and more. He wanted to know who his previous life was.
AI.
He thought about it for a long time, but he couldn't figure out the reason. It was the best thing that the old man was willing to tell him the reason. I shouldn't tell you this, but I owe you a favor. This time, I'll return the favor. Favor? Just by telling him the reason, he could return the favor. If he really awakened his primordial spirit, he wouldn't be willing. But since things had already come to this, he couldn't say more. Back then, you roamed the chaos world unhindered and dominated the universe. The biggest reason was because you created the heaven-defying cultivation technique, the 9-revolution chaos formula. Apart from you, no one else could cultivate this cultivation technique. Even your wife, Qin Shuangshuang, couldn't. So the 9-revolution chaos technique was created by him. No wonder others couldn't cultivate it. Longao didn't say anything and just listened quietly. Maybe your 9-revolution chaos technique is too powerful. Success depends on the 9-revolution chaos technique. Failure depends on the 9-revolution chaos technique. No matter what you think of, you can't break through the 8th revolution of the 9-revolution chaos technique. Similarly, you can't prove the chaos Tao. The result is the same as ours. Gradually, Longao had already guessed a little clue. It seemed that the key was still the 9-revolution chaos formula that he cultivated. Longao, the reason why you can't awaken your primordial spirit is because of the 9-revolution chaos technique that you cultivate. Let me give you a piece of advice. It's best to cultivate it as soon as possible. Otherwise, once someone succeeds in proving the Tao, you'll be in a difficult situation. Then who am I? How difficult was it to continuously improve the 9-revolution chaos technique? Others didn't know, but how could Longao not know? It was already extremely difficult to break through from the 6th revolution to the 7th revolution. But to break through from the 7th revolution to the 8th revolution, the difficulty was hundreds of times higher than before. What kind of concept was that? Each of the 4 great mystiques had 9 levels. If he wanted to break through to the 7th revolution, he would have to break through the 4th mystique, reincarnation. If he wanted to break through to the 7th revolution, he would have to break through to the 8th revolution. According to the old man, the only way for him to awaken his primordial spirit was to reach the peak of his strength in his previous life. If there were no accidents, he should have reached the peak of the 7th revolution, which was the 4th mystique, reincarnation transcendence. I've already said that I've already violated the Tao by telling you this. If I continue to say more, then I won't be able to prove the Tao of chaos in this life. So if you want to know who you are, don't ask anyone. You have to find a way to awaken your primordial spirit. When the time comes, you will naturally know who you are. Lin Fan was depressed. It was the same sentence again. It was easier said than done to comprehend the 4 great mystiques and cultivate to the peak of the 4th mystique, transcendence. Who knew how long it would take? However, since the old man wasn't willing to say more, there wasn't much meaning in asking more. I want to know your identity.
Can I?
Broken Soul. Broken Soul. This name was really special. You led me here. What's the matter? Ha ha ha, you're really smart. Longao, you have to know that if I didn't lead you here, do you think you're a match for the man and the beast outside? Although they're ants, they're still unshakable existences for the current you. So what? Before he awakened his primordial spirit, Longao wouldn't trust anyone, including Broken Soul, in front of him. Longao's intuition told him that the old man must have other reasons for leading him here. It wasn't just to help him. The human heart was unpredictable. It was better to be careful. Chapter 2997. I can help you lead them away, but you have to promise me one thing. Longao sneered in his heart. It was just a distraction, not a massacre. With the old man's strength, it was almost a matter of minutes for him to kill Yemo and the heavenly phantom wolf. It was better to rely on oneself than on others. From the beginning to the end, Longao had never thought of using others to deal with Yemo and the beast. Tell me. Longao did not immediately agree. God knew what Duan Hun's condition was. Longao, I need a drop of essence blood of the chaotic heaven-swallowing beast. What do you think? His face suddenly turned cold. He might agree to other things, but this was impossible. Goodbye. As if he had guessed that the other party would refuse, Duan Hun didn't care at all, nor was he angry. Instead, he said with a smile, Longao, if you agree to my condition, I'll owe you a favor. What do you think? Longao, who was about to leave, seemed to think of something. He nodded. Okay. After asking Black to take out a drop of essence blood and throw it over, Longao said, Please remember what you said now. Nangong Chun and the marvelous mathematician had more unknown enemies. Longao didn't know how many enemies he would have after awakening his spirit. He would make as many friends as he could. Thank you very much. Longao didn't say anything. He didn't know why Duan Hun wanted Black's essence blood. Well, you can leave now. Longao didn't say anything and turned to leave. The corners of Duan Hun's mouth slowly curled into a sneer as he watched the figure disappear. Just as Duan Hun said. Longao left the valley smoothly and didn't meet the heavenly phantom wolf and Yemo. Even if they were beaten to death, they would never expect that the person they were waiting for had already left the valley. Sanskrit Sound Sect. In just a few days, the Sanskrit Sound Sect had been rebuilt, and it was even more magnificent than before. That was strength. At the order of the Sanskrit Sound Sect, countless people swarmed in and began to build. If it were other forces, they wouldn't be able to do it at all. But the result? At this moment, Sanskrit Sound Sect, 9 heavens void. Boss, it's impossible for us to fend off over 40 God Kings with our strength. Are we really going to take action? Little Black couldn't figure it out. He didn't know what Boss was thinking. After all, the situation now was completely different from before.
It was a completely different concept.
How could Longao not know what Blackie meant? Instead, he smiled. Kill as many as we can, but our main target is this magnificent palace.
I see. Boss, watch me.
The two divided the work. Little Black went to lure out all of the Divine King powerhouses, while Longao was left behind to carry out the grand plan of destruction. He did as he said. Blackie's speed was extremely fast, and it began to roar. In the next second, the 41 Divine Kings all came out in shock. The Master and the Heavenly Phantom Wolf had already chased after it. Why would this heaven-defying divine beast suddenly appear here? What was going on? While they couldn't figure it out, everyone was very afraid of this divine beast. They didn't dare to be careless. Almost everyone chased after Blackie. The result? As soon as Blackie left, Longao had already begun to attack the magnificent palace in front of him. He didn't use the Xianyuan sword. The Chaos Axe appeared in Longao's right hand. Under the effect of divine punishment, the Chaos Axe in his hand began to hack at the magnificent palace in front of him. With Longao's current strength and the power of the Chaos Axe, it was obvious what the result would be. Boom, boom, boom. A terrifying sound resounded throughout the entire heaven and earth. The magnificent hall that had just been built collapsed with a loud bang under Longao's crazy attack. What did this mean? Even if the Sanskrit sound sect was beaten to death, they would never have thought that Longao would return again. Looking at the collapsed palace, the 41 Divine Kings didn't have the mood to chase after Blackie. Even a fool had already guessed that this time, the other party was probably playing the so-called luring the tiger away from the mountain. You've gone too far. Longao, you've gone too far. I'm going to tear you into pieces. Everyone roared out crazily as they glared at the figure standing in the void above the 9 heavens. Murderous aura surged out one after another. The murderous aura released by the 41 divine beasts and god kings stacked together and began to suppress Blackie. There was no fear at all. Divine punishment. Just as everyone was about to strike out, a terrifying aura descended. The initial divine kings were imprisoned directly. Even the mid-divine kings found it difficult to do so. Sensing the might of this aura, everyone's face changed as they looked at each other in shock. They had no idea what was going on. Taking advantage of the moment when the aura descended, Longao struck out. The Chaos Axe in his hand began to attack wildly. The Chaos 9 axes, especially the Primordial Spirit Shackle, began to bind the primordial spirits of the God Kings. Once someone was forcefully shackled, it was obvious what would happen. Even though Longao's cultivation base was at the peak of the Master God realm, the primordial spirit he possessed was comparable to that of a mid-divine king. Especially after comprehending the second divine punishment, he could definitely kill an initial divine king. If the situation permitted, even killing a mid-divine king wouldn't be impossible. Gotcha! The Chaos Axe in Longao's hand cleaved down on the body of an initial divine king. The initial divine king's primordial spirit didn't even have a chance to escape before it dissipated into thin air. Xiaohe had already returned and was targeting initial divine kings. Xiaohe and Longao had already discussed that they had to kill as many divine kings as possible in the shortest amount of time. Xiaohe and Longao had joined forces. Especially now that Longao could release the second divine punishment, killing initial divine kings was as easy as chopping vegetables. As for killing mid-divine kings, it wouldn't be that easy. Even so, Longao and Xiaohe were still crazily attacking mid-grade god kings. Because both of them were very clear in their heart that mid-grade god kings were far from comparable to primary-grade god kings. Killing one mid-grade god king was equivalent to killing 10 primary-grade god kings. Initial divine kings and mid-divine kings, retreat quickly. All high divine kings and peak divine kings, hold them back. Gradually, someone began to realize that something was amiss. Even so, there were still 4 initial divine kings and 1 mid-divine king that had been killed. If this were to continue, all the initial divine kings and mid-divine kings would be killed. A man and a beast joining forces could actually kill initial divine kings and even mid-divine kings. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they would have found it hard to believe. In the blink of an eye, all the high divine kings and peak divine kings immediately formed a human wall and began to block the man and the beast. However, they didn't choose to attack the initial divine kings. They didn't know that the man and the beast had another trump card. Chapter 2998. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Longao burst out laughing maniacally as his face was filled with mockery. The Sanskrit sound sect is truly not as good as meeting you in person. Respect. Respect. Face slapping. A blatant slap to the face. Be it Longao or Xiaohei, neither of them were God-King martial artists. They were just peak master gods. And yet, these two peak master gods were the reason why the Sanskrit sound sect was in such a state of chaos. Let's go. Boss, I haven't killed enough yet. Now that EMO is back, there's no point in us staying any longer. Let's go. Xiaohei was helpless as well. After all, the strength of EMO and the Sky Phantom Wolf was there for all to see. There was no point in them staying any longer. They left just like that. Dozens of minutes later, the figures of EMO and the Sky Phantom Wolf appeared once more. When EMO caught sight of the collapsed main hall, he seemed to have guessed something as he was thoroughly enraged. Just what in the world is going on? Master, after you guys chased after them, Longao suddenly returned with his god beast. Not only did he destroy the main hall that we had just built, he even killed 4 of our Sanskrit sound sect's lower-level god kings and 1 of our middle-level god kings.
Arg.
He reared his head into the skies and roared out with a tremendous killing intent. Once might be an accident, but what about twice? Thrice? Or even 4 times? For the Sanskrit sound sect to be massacred by Longao one after another was a total slap to the face. Not only was it a slap to the Sanskrit sound sect's face, it was a slap to his own as well. The Zonglong celestial region was boundless. If Longao were to hide intentionally, wanting to find any trace of him would be akin to searching for a needle in a haystack. It was practically impossible. If that were the case, how was he supposed to repay this debt? I'll stay behind to help you. Thank you. How could EMO not understand the intentions of the Sky Phantom Wolf? If not for the heaven-devouring beast, why would the Sky Phantom Wolf stay behind to help him? What a joke. Both of them had their own motives. If this man were to hide intentionally, it would be extremely difficult for us to lock onto his location. Wait for the hare to come. Xiao Chen cursed the heavenly Phantom Wolf in his heart. Waiting for him to show up would not work. Who knew if the Longao would appear again? However, under normal circumstances, as long as the other party was not a fool, he would not appear. According to my guess, Longao will definitely come again if nothing unexpected happens. Are you that confident? Yiemo was very curious. He did not know where the Heavenly Phantom Wolf's confidence came from. The Heavenly Phantom Wolf smiled strangely, but did not say anything. After this massacre, Longao was pleasantly surprised to find that the second level of divine punishment that he had just comprehended had improved once again. He had successfully comprehended the third level of divine punishment. He did not dare to relax in the slightest. Longao knew very well that he had to comprehend the 9th level of divine punishment in the shortest amount of time possible. As long as he reached the peak of divine punishment, he would be able to comprehend the next divine ability. Big brother, we have to find a place to comprehend the power of space. Otherwise, we won't be able to make a breakthrough in our cultivation. We won't be able to fight against high divine kings or peak divine kings. How could Longao not know the meaning of Black's words? You're right. Other than the king-titled tower, there are other places in Zonglong City where one can comprehend the power of space. It's just that it's not as good as the king-titled tower. Even if Longao was beaten to death, he would not be willing to go to the king-titled tower. His intuition told him that the king-titled tower was definitely related to Haolin. Other than Nangong Yin and the divine mathematician, Haolin and Duan Hun had already appeared. They were all people that he knew in his previous life, but he did not know any of them. A person who could control the king-titled tower. It was obvious how powerful Haolin's strength was. Zonglong City. Among the various places, Longao chose the Luck Plaza. To put it simply, the Luck Plaza depended on luck. Every time one entered, It was the same as the king-titled tower. It would cost 100 million crystal stones. However, there were no restrictions, and anyone could enter. The Luck Plaza was also controlled by the Domain Masters Alliance. The power of comprehension in the Luck Plaza depended on luck. This was because out of 10,000 people who entered the Luck Plaza, there might not be one person who could comprehend it successfully. Unless one failed at other places, only then would one have no choice but to come. The main reason why Longao chose the Luck Plaza was that it was not that troublesome and was hidden enough. Even if Yi Mo and the others were beaten to death, they would not expect him to come to the Luck Plaza. The Luck Plaza was a huge plaza that could allow hundreds of thousands of people to enter. One could imagine how big the Luck Plaza was. After Longao entered the Luck Plaza, he immediately began to comprehend. As for Xiaohe, there was no need for him to comprehend at all. This was because, according to Xiaohe, as he continued to refine the inheritance in his body, his strength would continue to increase. There were not many people in the Luck Plaza. At most, there were less than 10,000 people. All of them were scattered around, trying to comprehend the power of space, hoping to comprehend it successfully. Longao's cultivation had already broken through to peak lord. Hence, the next step was not to comprehend, but to truly master it. If he could master the power of space, his cultivation would break through to beginner god king from peak lord. Cheng Biao, do you see that person? Dudi, which one is it? The person who just came in?
What's going on?
I saw him handing over 100 million crystals, as if it was a game. He didn't feel the slightest bit of heartache. Think about it yourself and see if he did the right thing. Cheng Biao nodded. That was indeed the case. Under normal circumstances, if someone wanted to enter the Luck Plaza to cultivate, they would have to pay 100 million crystals. 100 million crystals was something that even a god king could not ignore, let alone an ordinary martial artist. Therefore, Dudi immediately noticed that something was amiss. The Luck Plaza was different from the Regal Tower. One could casually make a move in the Luck Plaza, but not in the Regal Tower. This was also the real reason why many people were unwilling to enter the Luck Plaza. Let's go. Longao, who was trying his best to master the power of space, suddenly opened his eyes. Looking at the two people who had already arrived before him, he could already guess their intentions. Kid, don't talk nonsense with us. We don't want to talk nonsense with you either. Hand over all the crystals on you, and you can stay here to cultivate. Otherwise, scram. The word scram really gave the two of them a fright. They were instantly enraged. The two of them charged at each other. Both of them were peak higher gods. In their opinion, killing a middle god was a piece of cake. Although Longao's cultivation had already broken through to peak god king, he had concealed his aura. To outsiders, he was still a middle god. Chapter 2999. If it were anyone else, the two of them would probably succeed. Except for Longao. Actually, the two of them could not be blamed. This was because, under normal circumstances, lords would not easily step into the Luck Square, let alone a peak lord. It was practically nonsensical. However, the two of them were not very lucky. Before the two of them could react, their primordial spirits were forcefully imprisoned. The two of them were completely stunned. They never thought that the person in front of them was actually a lord, and a peak lord at that. Was this for real? They could not believe it. Sir, please spare our lives. We have a good relationship with the Sanskrit sound sect. Originally, Longao did not plan to kill the two of them. After all, this was the Luck Square. Unless it was absolutely necessary, Longao did not want to kill casually and cause trouble. The main purpose of coming to the Luck Square this time was to master the power of space. Everything else was nonsense. But now, it would have been better if they did not hear about the Sanskrit sound sect. Hearing about the Sanskrit sound sect, Longao's face turned cold. I killed the people from the Sanskrit sound sect. The two of them thought that if they mentioned the Sanskrit sound sect, even if the other party was a peak lord, he would still choose to compromise obediently. The two of them knew better than anyone what the Sanskrit sound sect meant. As the #1 sect in the Zhonglong region, the Sanskrit sound sect was a giant that no one dared to provoke. In the end, the two of them felt like dying. They did not even have the chance to regret, because even if they were beaten to death, they would never have thought that the peak lord in front of them would not even give face to the Sanskrit sound sect. It was too late for regrets now. There was no sound. In order to avoid unnecessary trouble, Longao directly brought the two of them into his chaotic dantian and burned them to ashes with the power of strange fire. Longao was overthinking. Even if he killed the two of them openly, it would not cause the slightest commotion. It was still the same thing. In the Luck Square, killing was like eating.
It was a very normal thing.
After getting rid of the two ants, Longao immediately began cultivating. Mastering space was easy to think about, but it was very difficult to actually do it. Longao had always been very confident in his talent, but he still could not master space and advance to become a god-king powerhouse. Time was running out. To Longao, time could be said to be 10,000 times more important than anything else. As time slowly passed, Longao gradually discovered a problem. When he broke through to the 7th revolution, the 4 great divine abilities he comprehended were definitely related to his own strength. At a certain level, if his strength did not increase, he would definitely not be able to comprehend the corresponding divine abilities. Therefore, increasing one's strength was the most important thing. Everything else was just nonsense.
Time trickled by.
Right now, the Zhonglong Heaven domain was very lively. Everyone was talking about the Sanskrit sound sect. Longao, who came from the Blackstone Heavenly domain, brought a powerful divine beast with him. Since they arrived at the Zhonglong Heavenly domain, they began to cause havoc in the Sanskrit sect. From an outsider's point of view, this was simply unimaginable. As the #1 sect in the Zhonglong domain, the Sanskrit sound sect's strength and foundation were obvious. Even the domain chief's manner wouldn't dare to offend them casually, let alone a man and a beast. It was such a powerful existence that the man and the beast did not fear it at all. The first time, he destroyed the Sanskrit sound sect and killed countless of their disciples. If it were anyone else, they would have chosen to leave long ago. Only the man and the beast did not leave. Instead, they destroyed the Sanskrit sound sect a second time. They even killed 4 early-stage divine kings and 1 mid-stage divine king. What kind of concept was that? It was too crazy. 2 words appeared in everyone's mind at the same time. Madman. If he wasn't a madman, how could he do such a crazy thing? It was simply unbelievable. The Sanskrit sound sect was now in a state of peace. They recruited new disciples and rebuilt the palace. It looked like a thriving scene, but everyone already knew that the Sanskrit sound sect was no longer the same as before. If it was before, it would be easier said than done to enter the Sanskrit sound sect. But now, even if the Sanskrit sound sect lowered the threshold again and again, many people were still unwilling to join the Sanskrit sound sect. The biggest reason was that there was no sense of security in the Sanskrit sound sect. Security? Security was simply a big joke for the Sanskrit sound sect. However, the Sanskrit sound sect was powerless. They had been destroyed twice by Longao. Not to mention the people outside, even the people in the Sanskrit sound sect began to suspect. Becoming a disciple of the Sanskrit sound sect meant that they could die at any time. The Sanskrit sound sect, in a grand hall that had just been built. Yemo, the heavenly phantom wolf, and the remaining 30-odd divine kings were all gathered. They were discussing how to deal with Longao. As for the matter of the heaven-swallowing beast, neither Yemo nor the heavenly phantom wolf told anyone. After all, they knew very well what it meant. Even Yemo and the heavenly phantom wolf had their own ulterior motives. Everyone, is there any news of Longao? Yemo was worried that Longao would hide, but he still helplessly found that after searching for 10 days, he still couldn't find any trace of Longao. If this continued, it wouldn't be a solution. However, the Zhonglong Heaven domain was boundless. Even the Sanskrit sound sect couldn't find a person casually. Master, We've already contacted all the city lords and master of the Zone Long Heaven domain, but we still haven't found any traces of Longao. The 3 teleportation formations are all under our control. If Longao wants to leave the Zone Long Heaven domain, he'll have to cross the Heaven domain. However, that's impossible, so Longao is still in the Zone Long Heaven domain. Everyone was certain about this because no one could cross the Heaven domain unless they had a flying battleship or a divine king. Even a divine king might not be able to do that. After all, crossing the Heaven domain was too dangerous. Even a flying battleship or a divine king could die if they were unlucky. Yi Mo nodded his head in agreement and said, "That's not what I want. You guys need to increase your efforts. You must find the traces of Longao." Lu Fen felt helpless. If it was that easy to find Longao, he wouldn't have to be so worried. However, he knew how the master felt. If he said that he would try his best, the master would get angry. Yi Mo saw that Lu Fen didn't say anything, so he knew how difficult it was for him. If it was something else, it wouldn't matter. However, he couldn't be careless about this matter. "Pass down my order. As long as you can find Longao's traces, you can become a consecrated elder of the Sanskrit Sound School. You can enjoy all the treatment of an elder. Moreover, I will owe you a favor. If you can kill Longao, you can raise any conditions." Chapter 3000. After the Sanskrit Sound sect announced the reward, it caused a sensation in the entire Zonglong region. It seemed that the Sanskrit Sound sect was really angry this time, but after thinking about it, he felt relieved. Longao dared to destroy the Sanskrit Sound sect twice and killed countless disciples and 5 divine king elders. No matter who it was, they would do the same. Not only that, but they would even go even further. As the saying goes, when there is a great reward, there will be brave men. Countless people began to look for Longao's traces, but the Zonglong region was too big. If Longao really hid deliberately, it would not be easy to find his real location. Zonglong City, Qi Canton. He had been sensing it for dozens of days, but he still could not successfully master the power of space. Longao could clearly sense that he was only one step away from the Divine King realm. It was just one step, but it was as difficult as climbing the sky. He could not break through. If this continued, who knew what would happen? It would be a lie to say that he was not depressed. As for the reason, even Longao did not know. He could not figure it out. "Boss, what's wrong?" Although Blackie was in the chaotic Dantian, he was able to communicate with Longao using his spiritual sense. In the Fortune Square, only powerful martial artists would find trouble with weak martial artists. After all, every time one entered the Fortune Square, they would have to spend 100 million crystal stones. 100 million crystal stones could only be used once, but all warriors who entered were there to cultivate, not to find trouble. Like the 2 people that Longao had killed before, they were in the minority. "I don't know what's going on. I feel that my cultivation is about to break through, but I still can't master the power of space. I don't know why." Xiao He was also very surprised. He could not figure out what was going on with his boss. "How are you?" "Boss, the power I devoured before is enough for me to refine the inheritance and break through to the Divine King realm. I can do it in about a month." A month passed in the blink of an eye for them. He was overjoyed. Longao was pleasantly surprised to the extreme. According to Blackie's current strength, he could already devour early god kings. If Blackie's cultivation broke through to the god king realm, he could even devour mid or high god kings. "Alright, you can stay in the Dantian and refine the inheritance. Try to break through to the god king realm as soon as possible." "Boss, what about you?" He sighed deeply. Longao stood up and stretched. He said helplessly, "My intuition tells me that even if I stay in the Luck Plaza, I won't be able to break through to the God King realm. I need to go out and train. I need to see if I can control space and break through to the God King realm." He left the Luck Plaza. Longao didn't go anywhere and continued to stay in Zonglong City. The most dangerous place was also the safest place. As soon as he left the Lux Square, Longao heard discussions coming from everywhere. They were all about him and the Sanskrit sect. He sneered. He didn't care about the Sanskrit sound sect at all. If the Sanskrit sound sect was strong, he wouldn't be here right now. He would be in the Sanskrit sound sect or Yunlu. He walked around casually. When he was tired, he would find an inn to rest. When he was done, he would continue to shop and not cultivate. At this moment, Longao was like the most ordinary person, living the most ordinary life. Longao's intention was simple. He didn't know why he couldn't break through the bottleneck and control the chaotic energy. If that was the case, he didn't know when he could break through to the God King realm. He was going to do the opposite. Longao was going to live an ordinary life and see if there was an opportunity for him to break through. Maple Leaf City was an ordinary city. 99% of the people in the city were ordinary people. The most important thing was that there were martial artists in the city lord's residence. There was a tofu pudding shop. It looked simple, but there were many people. The owner of the shop was a family of 3. They were all ordinary people. Dad, 3 bowls of tofu pudding. Xiao Chui, go and see if young Master Ordinary still needs it.
Oh.
Xiao Chui looked very ordinary. She came to Longao and asked with a smile, Brother Ordinary, do you still need tofu pudding? No, I'll sit here for a while. Brother Ordinary, go ahead. This was prepared especially for you. Xiao Chui smiled and left immediately. The business was booming. This was a commoner district, and there were ordinary people everywhere. Ordinary martial artists wouldn't come here. Therefore, the people here didn't have to worry about any danger. Looking at the ordinary life of the family of 3 not far away, Longao smiled sincerely. Ever since he got the chaotic seal, he had been living in a life and death situation. Enemies appeared one after another, leaving him no time to rest. This time, he returned to being ordinary, and he enjoyed it. Even his name was Ordinary. It wasn't just the family of 3. Everyone around him was the most ordinary person living an ordinary life. Gradually, Longao's eyes were gently closed. A strange power was constantly surging from all around. It was the power of space. It surrounded Longao's body and gradually formed a huge, transparent air shield. Look, what's this person doing? He's a martial artist. Wow, I've seen a legendary martial artist. Seeing that someone was covered by the transparent shield, everyone started to exclaim. They looked at the young man in front of them in shock. They didn't know what was going on with this person. Even if he was a martial artist, this seemed a little strange. The most shocked people were Xiao Chui's family of 3. They didn't expect that the young Master Ordinary, who came every day recently, was a legendary martial artist. Longao's sudden enlightenment caused an uproar. For a martial artist, enlightenment was something that could only be encountered and not sought. Not to mention, in the eyes of ordinary people, even in the world of martial artists, it would cause quite a stir. After all, enlightenment wasn't something that could be done casually. After going through this ordinary life, Longao's benefits were incomparably huge. He had not broken through to the Divine King realm, but the 9-revolution chaotic technique had broken through to the 7th revolution. His first divine ability, Divine Punishment, had been rapidly comprehended from the 3rd level Divine Punishment to the 4th level Divine Punishment, the 5th level Divine Punishment, the 6th level Divine Punishment, and it gradually stopped after the 7th level Divine Punishment. Even so, Longao was pleasantly surprised. He had never thought that he would be able to comprehend from the 3rd level Divine Punishment to the 7th level Divine Punishment. The 3rd stage Divine Punishment and the 7th stage Divine Punishment were 2 completely different concepts. The difference between the 2 was too great. Longao was confident that even if he didn't break through to the Divine King realm, he could still rely on the power of the Divine Punishment to imprison a mid-Divine King. This was the terror of the first divine ability, Divine Punishment. Chapter 3001. Dozens of minutes later, Longao suddenly opened his eyes. The spatial cocoon around him disappeared without a trace. He did not break through. Longao sensed the power in his body. He was still at peak Lord level. Even with the epiphany, he could not break through. It was a little hard to accept. What was going on? He could not figure it out. However, being able to comprehend the 7th level of divine punishment was already a blessing in disguise. Brother Pingfan, are you a martial artist? Longao smiled. Originally, he wanted to leave some cultivation methods and martial arts techniques for the family of 3, as well as cultivation resources. However, after some thought, he decided not to do so. Sometimes, there was nothing wrong with an ordinary life. He envied Xiao Chui's family of 3 for living an ordinary life. However, he could not do that at all.
Yes.
Longao did not say much. His strength had been exposed. There was no point in staying. He left behind hundreds of millions of crystals and left quickly.
He had to admit.
The Sanskrit sound sect was indeed very powerful, especially after receiving the order. Everyone was locking onto Longao's location. The news of Longao's sudden epiphany had spread to the Sanskrit sound sect. An hour later, Yemo and the heavenly phantom wolf suddenly arrived in Maple Leaf City with several godly kings. They stood in the sky and looked down at the most ordinary city below. In their eyes, such a city was like an ant. If it were any other time, they would not even look at it. What is that? A martial artist. A martial artist who can fly. Everyone exclaimed in surprise. Have you seen Longao? Xiao Chui's family of 3 was forcefully suppressed by the majestic aura. They knelt down directly. Apart from being shocked, the 3 of them could not understand who Longao was. The old man said with trepidation, Sir, we don't know who Longao is. Humph. Crack. A few of the old man's ribs were crushed. There was a scream. Father, what are you doing? We really don't know who Longao is. As if he didn't want to waste any more time, Yemo could clearly sense that Longao wasn't here. Because of this, the anger in his heart turned into billowing murderous aura that directly descended upon the entire Maple Leaf City.
Boom, boom, boom.
A mid-level divine emperor's aura was terrifying. They didn't even need to attack Maple Leaf City. They only needed to release their aura to destroy the entire city. Even the City Lord Mansion of Maple Leaf City didn't have time to react. The entire Maple Leaf City was destroyed in an instant. There were hundreds of thousands of people in the city, but none of them managed to escape. All of them died under the chi of a Shen Huang. Let's go. Yemo, Sky Phantom Wolf, and the others did not continue to stay. As far as they were concerned, Longao was just passing by to comprehend something. Since he had already left, they believed that he would definitely not return. After leaving, Longao always felt uneasy in his heart, as if something had happened. What was going on? Boss, what's wrong? Blackie was very curious. Under normal circumstances, since Boss had already comprehended the 7th level of the divine punishment, it should be a happy thing. However, Boss seemed to have a lot on his mind. Blackie, I don't know why, but I have a bad feeling about this. Heis. Blackie was helpless as well. He didn't know what to say. I'm going back to check it out. Longao turned around immediately. When he returned to Maple Leaf City, he sensed a massive amount of death chi. His face changed immediately. In the next second, he appeared in Maple Leaf City. Looking at the countless corpses around him, he knew what had happened. Silence. All of a sudden, Longao raised his head and roared madly. An endless amount of murderous aura surged out, piercing through the 9 heavens. Sanskrit sect, I, Longao, will definitely destroy you completely. Yemo, if I don't kill you, I, Longao, swear that I'm not human. Longao finally knew why he had been feeling uneasy. It turned out that everyone in Maple Leaf City had been killed. Under the pressure of the powerful divine soul, how could ordinary people resist? He blamed himself and his internal strength because if it weren't for him, how could all the people in Maple Leaf City be killed? He thought that these were the most ordinary people who lived the most ordinary lives. It was all because of him that they met with such a disaster. How could he not be angry? Thinking of the family of 3 and the innocent and kind girl, Longao felt a deep sense of anger. The guilt in his heart grew stronger and stronger. He sat down on the ground and sat there quietly. Blackie appeared beside Longao. Looking at the corpses around, he sighed deeply. In this situation, he didn't know how to persuade Boss. Time flew. For 3 days and 3 nights, Longao had been sitting there without moving. He just looked at the stall in front of him. This incident seemed to have a huge impact on Longao. His state of mind had changed again. 3 days later, Longao stood up suddenly. His eyes were filled with killing intent. Boss, where are we going now? Sanskrit sect. If it was any other time, Little Black would have immediately gone to the Sanskrit sound sect to fight. However, the situation now was obviously different. His boss had been blinded by killing. If he rashly went to the Sanskrit sound sect, he might go for wool and come home shorn, putting himself in a predicament. Boss, you have to calm down. Even if we want to take revenge, we have to think about it carefully. How could Longao not know what Blackie meant? Even if I die in the Sanskrit sect today, I will take revenge. If he didn't go to the Sanskrit sect to take revenge, he wouldn't be able to swallow this anger. He couldn't suppress the anger in his heart. Since things had come to this, Blackie didn't want to say anything more.
He would do whatever Boss said.
Even if it was a mountain of knives and a sea of fire, he had to go. The man and the beast left quickly. But before they left, they buried everyone in Maple Leaf City. Sanskrit sect. 9 heavens.
Boom, boom, boom.
The moment Blackie and Longao appeared, they started attacking the palace madly. Under the combined efforts of these 2 peak master gods, the newly built palace collapsed once more. They were really caught off guard. Even if they were beaten to death, no one in the Sanskrit sect would have thought that Longao would dare to return. By the time they realized what was going on, the gigantic palace had already collapsed. Looking at the sudden appearance of this man and beast, Yi Mo and the Sky Phantom Wolf were not angry in the least bit. Instead, they were elated. Longao, there's a path to heaven, but you don't want to take it. Instead, you barge into hell. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Yi Mo, you shameless be***starred. To think that you would destroy a mere mortal city. Mortal city. They're just a bunch of ants. Even if they're destroyed, what can you do? Chapter 3002.
Ants?
Indeed, Yi Mo had not said anything wrong. Not to mention mortals. Even lords were like ants in his eyes. In Yi Mo's opinion, it was perfectly normal for him to destroy a small mortal city. That was the reason. Yi Mo was shocked. He never thought that Longao would come to him for a group of mortals and put him in a hopeless situation. Was he a fool? Or was he impulsive? No matter what Yi Mo was thinking, as long as he came, it was a good thing for him. Ha ha ha, ants? Yi Mo, you're also an ant in my eyes. Today, I'm going to destroy the Sanskrit sound sect. You? Yi Mo sneered. Even the god kings behind Yi Mo were full of mockery and disdain, let alone Yi Mo. A mere peak over god wanted to destroy the Sanskrit sound sect. Was that possible? That was a joke. Many people began to laugh maniacally. Their laughter was filled with mockery, as if they had heard the funniest thing in the world. In the next second, Longao did not continue to talk nonsense. His primordial spirit began to burn immediately. Boss, what are you doing?
Stop it.
Stop it. Xiao He was scared out of his wits. He never thought that Yi Mo would burn his primordial spirit to increase his strength. Even if his primordial spirit was indestructible, he knew better than anyone what burning it meant.
Boss.
Longao had cut off the connection with Xiao He and began to burn his primordial spirit. Yi Mo and the others also noticed Longao's crazy actions, but they were not worried at all. If it were a god king who burned his primordial spirit to increase his strength, they might be wary. What could a mere peak over god do even if he burned his primordial spirit? It was a joke. It was complete nonsense. Yi Mo and the others did not attack. They just smiled and waited. Their intention was clear. They wanted to see how much the burning of his primordial spirit would increase his strength. Even Longao did not know how much the burning of his primordial spirit would increase his strength. But in the end, he could not suppress the anger and murderous intent in his body. He had to increase his strength, and the fastest way to do so was to burn his primordial spirit. As for the consequences of burning his primordial spirit, he could not care less.
Kill.
All he had to do was kill Emo and destroy the Sanskrit sect. Longao had yet to master the power of space. Thus, even if he burned his Yuan divinity and rapidly increased his cultivation base, he still couldn't master the power of space, not to mention the Godemperor's power of space imprisonment, forward, backward, and forbidding.
Ah! Ah!
Longao looked up to the sky and roared crazily. Longao burned his primordial spirit. In just a few seconds, his cultivation had already begun to soar crazily. Elementary God King, Middle God King, High God King, Peak God King. Emo and the others were taken aback by the sudden increase of 4 levels. Burning one's primordial spirit could raise one's cultivation by so much. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he would have found it hard to believe. Attack. Emo didn't know why, but he started to worry. If Longao continued to advance, then he would become a divine emperor. Nobody could predict what would happen at that time. End the battle quickly. As soon as Emo finished speaking, the heavenly phantom wolf shot off first. Afterwards, the several dozen god kings shot off as well. But what was the result? Longao didn't stop at all. Instead, he continued to burn his Yuan divinity. He had just reached the peak God King level, but his cultivation base soared again. He reached the elementary God King level and only stopped when he reached the intermediate God King level.
Ah!
Feeling the terrifying aura released by Longao, everyone was completely stunned. Was it true that he had broken through 6 levels by burning his Yuan divinity? However, Emo and the heavenly phantom wolf soon discovered that although Longao's cultivation was forcibly promoted to the middle-level divine emperor due to the burning of his primordial spirit, he did not master the power of space, let alone the various divine abilities of space. They finally heaved a sigh of relief. If it had been before, even if Longao had broken through to the intermediate God King level, he wouldn't have been able to resist the two. After all, Longao didn't break through normally, but by burning his Yuan divinity. Everyone knew how big the gap was. But now, the situation was completely different. Longao had successfully broken through to the 7th revolution of the 9-revolution chaos formula and comprehended the first divine skill, divine punishment. Longao had successfully comprehended the 7th revolution of divine punishment. Although he had burned his Yuan divinity to reach the intermediate God King level and had not mastered the power of space, his divine punishment divine skill had soared again. Not only had it soared to the 9th revolution of divine punishment, it had even reached the so-called peak. This is the peak of divine punishment. Longao had a feeling of enlightenment. If he hadn't died from the burning of his Yuan divinity, his comprehension of the divine punishment divine skill would not have been able to progress further. It was a good thing for him. But what was the result? Longao knew what would happen if he burned his Yuan divinity. Fortunately, his Yuan divinity wasn't destroyed, so he didn't have to worry about life and death. If it had been someone else who burned their Yuan divinity, the result would have been death. There was no doubt about it. Longao was an exception. He had to end the battle quickly because burning his Yuan divinity would increase his strength. He could only last for 10 minutes at most. Once the time was up, even he didn't know what would happen. So he had to hurry up. Divine punishment, instant. After comprehending the 9th revolution of divine punishment, it was the peak of instant. As for the power of the peak of instant, Longao still didn't know. But his intuition told him that the peak of instant was definitely not simple. Gotcha! The 3 god kings were directly locked on by the instant. In the next second, Longao's figure appeared in front of them with a strange smile.
Ah!
The 3 of them looked at Longao, who had suddenly appeared in front of them. The 3 divine kings were completely dumbfounded. They retreated continuously and ran as far as they could. The three of them had never thought that the other party's strength and speed would have skyrocketed to such an extent after burning his primordial spirit. It was simply inconceivable. The three god kings wanted to run, but they were clearly powerless under such circumstances. They could only watch as Longao attacked. Under the effect of divine punishment, the speed of the three god kings was countless times slower. Longao's chaos axe had already slashed towards the three god kings. Kacha, kacha, kacha. The three god kings were killed instantly. They didn't even have the chance to react. Their bodies slowly fell to the ground. Even their Yuan divinities couldn't escape in time. Their Yuan divinities were destroyed. Chapter 3003. Killing three God King Elders in one move. Not to mention others, even Yemo and the Heavenly Phantom Wolf were a little shocked. They never thought that Longao would be so powerful after burning his primordial spirit. The Heavenly Phantom Wolf was very fast. In the blink of an eye, it had already attacked Longao fiercely. This time, Longao did not dodge at all. Instead, he chose to face it head-on. Boom! There was a loud sound. The Heavenly Phantom Wolf was sent flying while Longao did not move at all. It was as if nothing had happened. Ah! Yemo, who was about to rush over, was completely shocked when he saw the Heavenly Phantom Wolf being sent flying. He stood there in a daze. Even if Longao burned his primordial spirit, he should not be so powerful. How did he do it? While Yemo was in a daze, Longao made his move. Anyway, things had already come to this. Longao's speed soared to the extreme. He held the primal chaos axe in his hand. After his speed soared to the extreme, the primal chaos axe in his hand always brought up clouds of blood mist. There were only 30 god kings left in the Sanskrit sound sect. But now? In just a few minutes, Longao had already killed 30 god kings. There were only 4 god kings left. However, Longao did not hesitate at all. He immediately rushed towards the 4 god kings. Yemo and the Heavenly Phantom Wolf had only been stunned for a moment, but so many god king martial artists had already died. If this was the case, the remaining 4 would probably have died as well. They must not let the 4 of them die. Thinking of this, the Heavenly Phantom Wolf and Yemo once again rushed towards Longao. They knew very well that even if Longao's strength had skyrocketed, his primordial spirit had already been burned. How long could he last? The divine punishment was instantaneous. Longao resisted 1 man and 1 beast and immediately began to kill the remaining 4. At this point, all the god kings of the Sanskrit sound sect had been killed. Longao knew very well that burning his primordial spirit would not last long. He had to take advantage of the remaining time to kill 1 man and 1 beast. Cut the weeds and eliminate the roots to prevent future troubles. When Longao used his peak instant breath, he immediately recovered his primal chaos axe. At this moment, Longao ignored Yemo and continued to attack the Heavenly Phantom Wolf with all his might. Even the Heavenly Phantom Wolf was starting to falter under Yemo's relentless attacks. Crack! The primal chaos axe directly killed the Heavenly Phantom Wolf. As for its primordial spirit, it was thrown into Longao's primordial spirit. Xiaohe hadn't broken through to the Divine King realm yet, so he still needed a huge amount of support. 30 Divine Kings and 1 Divine Emperor were enough for Xiaohe to break through to the Divine King realm and even reach the mid-Divine King realm. Yemo was about to continue attacking. Seeing the Heavenly Phantom Wolf being slaughtered in such a frenzied manner, he jumped in fright. How could he dare to continue attacking? He immediately turned and fled. In any case, Longao had already ignited his primordial spirit and was bound to die. There was no need for him to clash head-on with his opponent. It was a pity that the spatial body and the heaven-devouring beast were wasted. Longao, who was about to chase after Yemo, suddenly felt a wave of weakness coming from his body, especially his primordial spirit. It was no longer possible for him to continue using his terrifying strength. He didn't dare to hesitate. Taking advantage of the fact that his primordial spirit was about to dissipate, Longao entered his primordial spirit. In his primordial spirit, Longao's primordial spirit was very weak, like a light spot. If it wasn't for the fact that he couldn't be extinguished, Longao would have died by now. "Boss, how are you?" Seeing that his boss had fainted, Xiao He was worried. After Yi Mo left, he waited for an entire hour before returning. Looking at Longao, who was already nowhere to be found, he was very clear in his heart that if nothing unexpected happened, Longao must have already fallen. But where was his corpse? "I'm late." He was simply regretting to the extreme because Yi Mo had already guessed that if there was no accident, Longao's corpse would definitely be taken away by the heaven-swallowing beast. If only he could come one step earlier. However, it was too late to say anything now. There was no medicine for regret in this world. Yi Mo's heart ached at the thought of all the god kings dying. He had worked so hard to build his empire, but it was ruined just like that. However, Yi Mo soon figured it out. Although they had suffered a great loss, it was fortunate that Longao had died because he burned his primordial spirit. The most important thing now was to locate the heaven-devouring beast as soon as possible. As long as he could find the heaven-devouring beast, he would naturally be able to find Longao's corpse. The news of the Sanskrit sound sect spread very quickly. Longao burned his primordial spirit and destroyed the Sanskrit sound sect. Not only did he kill all the god kings and elders, but he even killed the level 6 divine beast, Heavenly Phantom Wolf. What did that mean? It shook the entire Long Tian territory. They had seen powerful people, but they had never seen such a powerful person. The relationship between the two sides had reached a point where it was either you die or I die. However, even so, Longao was a little too impulsive. He didn't hesitate to burn his primordial spirit to forcefully increase his strength. If it were anyone else, they definitely wouldn't do such a thing. Even so, a peak lord could kill a level 6 divine beast by burning his primordial spirit? That was **T. Many people didn't believe it. Zone Long City, city leader's mansion. When Xiao Fan heard the news, he stood up immediately. His face was filled with shock and disbelief because even he had never thought that Longao's strength would be so powerful after burning his primordial spirit. Not only did he kill many god kings, but he even killed the heavenly phantom wolf. What did that mean? Xiao Fan sighed deeply. Xiao Fan also knew that although Longao had burned his primordial spirit to forcefully destroy the Sanskrit sound sect, Longao would definitely die after burning his primordial spirit. However, he was already very powerful to be able to do that. But it was a pity that Longao had only killed the heavenly phantom wolf and did not manage to kill Yi Mo. If he could make use of this opportunity to kill Yi Mo, that would be the best thing in the world. Xiao Fan could not wait for Yi Mo to fall. After all, for so many years, Yi Mo had been suppressing him with all his might. This was especially the case for the position of the city leader. That was something that had been bothering him for the rest of his life. After all, everyone was saying that it was because Yi Mo wanted him to give up the position of the city leader. Otherwise, he wouldn't even have had the chance to become the city leader of Zone Long City. Even so, from this day forth, Yi Mo's reputation will be completely ruined. If nothing goes wrong, Yi Mo shouldn't be able to stay here any longer. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Xiao Fan laughed out maniacally, feeling extremely emotional in his heart. Just at this moment, Brother Xiao, I'd like to ask for your help. I wonder if you're willing to help. Xiao Fan's heart sank. Looking at Yi Mo, who had suddenly descended, Xiao Fan was infuriated. No matter what, this was the city leader's mansion. To think that this guy would barge in without even calling out to him. Chapter 3004. Mo did not take him seriously at all. Even though he was furious, Xiao Fan smiled and said, Master Yi, please tell me. I want to be the city lord of Zone Long City. Yi Mo's face turned cold. What about me? Be my deputy city lord. How could he not be angry? Even so, Xiao Fan did not dare to say anything. After all, Yimo's identity was there. Even if this matter was reported to the Domain Masters Alliance, it would probably end up like this. Brother Xiao, I know I'm being a little reckless, but I can promise you that this is only temporary. If I wanted to be the city lord forever, I would have done so many years ago. After all, I was the one who gave you the city lord position. Xiao Fan hated this the most. Okay. Xiao Fan did not say anything else and agreed directly. In the chaotic Dantian, Longao's aura was very weak. Although he did not die, he was still unconscious. Xiao He tried countless methods but still could not wake Yimo up. As time passed, Xiao He became more and more worried. Boss, what's wrong with you? Burning the primordial spirit meant certain death. However, Longao's situation was very special. The chaotic nine-colored lotus had fused with the primordial spirit and formed an immortal primordial spirit. Even if he burned his primordial spirit, he did not really die. It was just that no one knew what kind of situation Longao was in. It was very helpless. Just a month later, the primordial spirit in Longao's body was actually slowly recovering. Xiao He was extremely surprised when he sensed that Yimo's primordial spirit was getting stronger and stronger. He had never seen such a thing before. Not only did Yimo not die after burning his primordial spirit, but he also gradually recovered. Longao's luck was really good. The main reason why he did not die immediately after burning his primordial spirit and even began to recover was that the 9 revolution chaos technique had successfully broken through to the 7th revolution. If not for the 7th revolution, Longao would have probably entered the reincarnation cycle even if he did not die. Even so, Longao wanted to recover his primordial spirit. It was not something that could be done overnight. Xiao He did not continue to waste time. While guarding Yimo, he refined the inheritance and successfully broke through to the Divine King realm. The chaotic realm was divided into 99 heavenly domains, lower 33 heavenly domains, middle 33 heavenly domains, and upper 33 heavenly domains. The difference between the low heaven domain and the middle heaven domain was huge. The difference between the middle and upper heaven domains was just as great. The Thunder Heavenly Domain was one of the upper 33 heavenly domains. It was considered a mid-tier heavenly domain. Thunder Heavenly Domain, Thunder City. The domain chief's manor was located in Thunder City. The domain lord of the Thunder Heavenly Domain, Gu Hao, was Xianyuan Bubi's disciple. It was also because of Gu Hao that Xianyuan Bubi had fallen. Today, Thunder City was exceptionally lively. It could be said to be a sea of people. Almost all of the Upper Heaven region's domain lords and the various city lords had arrived to congratulate Gu Hao. After tens of thousands of years of closed-door cultivation, Gu Hao finally broke through the bottleneck and became a super expert. Not to mention the others. Even the domain lord of the first Upper Heaven region came to congratulate him. Since then, Gu Hao's name resounded throughout the entire Primal Chaos realm's 99 heavens. Inside the domain chief's manor, Gu Hao finally sent everyone away and could not suppress the joy in his heart. Old bastard, you saw it. Even without your help, I, Gu Hao, would still be able to reach such a realm. Even if you were at your peak, you wouldn't be able to compare to me. Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. Gu Hao was furious in his heart because until now, he still hadn't found Xianyuan Bubi's corpse and hadn't even found the inheritance. At this moment, Sir, I just received news that the Xianyuan sword has appeared. Speak. Gu Hao was overjoyed. What he was most concerned about was Xianyuan Bubi's inheritance, and now that the Xianyuan sword had appeared, he knew very well what that meant. My lord, it's like this. This person didn't dare to hide anything. He told Lin Li everything that he had heard without hiding a single word. Zhong Long Sky Region. A day later, Gu Hao appeared in Zhong Long City, and with a single step, he had already entered the city lord's manor. Yimo and Xiao Fan immediately came out to meet him. The two of them knew very well what Gu Hao meant. Not to mention Gu Hao's identity, just Gu Hao's strength was not to be underestimated. Brother Yi, Brother Xiao, there's no need to be so courteous. Brother Yi, your father went to the Thunder Heavenly region a few days ago, but you didn't go. I really can't take care of it. Yi Mo was originally going to follow his father to the Thunder Heavenly region, but because of the matter with Longao, how could he possibly go? Although Longao had already fallen, the secrets on Longao's body and the heaven-swallowing beast still did not make any movements. As for whether Yi Mo would go or not, Gu Hao did not care at all. What he was most concerned about was only Xianyuan Bubi and the Xianyuan sword, and immediately said, I heard that a person has appeared in your heavenly region. Longao, do you know him? Gu Hao did not know about the general situation. Yi Mo's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that there was a relationship between Longao and Gu Hao? Probably not. Thinking of this, Yi Mo didn't hide anything and roughly explained what had happened before. Longao was already dead? Of course, Yi Mo did not tell anyone about the heaven-swallowing beast. What kind of joke was this? If Gu Hao knew about the heaven-swallowing beast, then the matter could be big or small. If Gu Hao really interfered in this matter, then he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. Brother Gu, I wonder why you are looking for Longao. Until now, Yi Mo and Xiao Fan still did not know why Gu Hao was looking for Longao. Were the two of them enemies or friends? If the two of them were friends, then things would be troublesome. Longao killed my master. If I don't kill him, I swear I won't rest. Since he's already dead, then the matter is settled. First, I want to ask, have you seen the sword in Longao's hand? Sword? I have. Where is it? I don't know. When I came back, Longao's corpse was already gone, and I didn't get his things either. Gu Hao did not doubt what Yi Mo had said because, in his opinion, even if Yi Mo obtained the Xianyuan sword, he would definitely take it out. The other party would not offend him for a sword, let alone Yi Mo. Even Yi Mo's father would not dare to casually provoke him. Gu Hao did not care about Longao's life and death at all. The only thing he cared about was Xianyuan Bubi's things and inheritance, and he was very angry in his heart. Back then, he was still a little soft-hearted. Otherwise, there wouldn't be endless trouble in the future. Brother Gu. Of course he knew what Yi Mo wanted to say, so Gu Hao said, I will stay here for a period of time until I find Longao's corpse. Chapter 3005. Yi Mo was very unhappy in his heart. However, with Gu Hao's identity and strength, even if Yi Mo was extremely unwilling in his heart, he could only nod his head and agree. Brother Gu, please. The three of them wanted to find Longao's corpse, but the current Longao was inside the primal chaos Dantian, and no one was able to step inside. 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. In the blink of an eye, 10 years had passed. Longao's primordial spirit had more or less recovered. The burning of his primordial spirit this time had caused too much damage to his body. After waking up, Longao sighed deeply in his heart. Burning his primordial spirit to forcefully increase his strength, but he still did not succeed in killing Yi Mo. He might as well kill Yi Mo first and let the heavenly phantom wolf go. It was truly a helpless matter. Boss, how do you feel? Seeing that his boss had woken up, Xiao He was pleasantly surprised to the extreme. Not bad, it's just that my primordial spirit is a bit troublesome. However, as long as I can comprehend the peak of the divine punishment, my primordial spirit will be able to recover to its peak state. The current Longao had only comprehended the 7th stage of the divine punishment. If he wanted to comprehend the peak of the divine punishment, one could imagine how difficult it would be. Burning his primordial spirit to increase his strength, Longao had personally experienced the power of the peak of the divine punishment. They were not on the same level at all. Boss, then what should we do now? Zonglong City. Although his strength had not regressed, the damage to his primordial spirit was too great. Longao had no choice but to break through to the early stage Divine King realm, and in the following time, He had to grasp the spatial ability as quickly as possible and continuously increase his strength. Zonglong City. 10 years had passed, but Gu Hao still had not left. After all, 10 years of time was just a blink of an eye for a warrior. It was just that within 10 years, he still could not find any traces of Longao. City Lord's Mansion. At this moment, Xiao Fan was already the Vice City Lord, so he was very unhappy in his heart. However, due to the power behind Emo, he did not dare to say anything. If he had the chance, he would have immediately killed Emo regarding the abdication of the City Lord. Zonglong City was extremely shocked. Even now, discussions could still be heard everywhere. Longao, who had just stepped into Zonglong City, had already heard about the City Lord's mansion. It was a lousy tea shop. Brother Xiao, please have a seat. Seeing Longao sitting in front of him alive, Xiao Fan was shocked to the extreme. How could he survive after burning his primordial spirit? This was simply inconceivable. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed it even if he was beaten to death. Suppressing the shock in his heart, Xiao Fan sat across from Longao and said, I really didn't dare to imagine that you could survive after burning your soul. He didn't ask any questions. It seemed like Longao had some kind of secret technique that allowed him to burn his primordial spirit to increase his strength. How heaven-defying was this secret technique? What Xiao Fan didn't know was that the reason why Longao didn't die was because his primordial spirit had fused with the chaotic 9-colored lotus flower. No one else could do it. Brother Xiao, why did you give up the position of City Lord? He didn't want to talk about himself. How could Xiao Fan not know? When he heard Xiao Fan mention the position of City Lord, his face instantly turned gloomy. He said coldly, Emo used his father to snatch the position of City Lord from me. I'm only the Deputy City Lord now. Longao and Emo were sworn enemies. Xiao Fan didn't hide anything from them. In fact, many people knew that Emo was definitely furious that he was snatched away from the position of City Lord. Yemo's father? Longao didn't know who Yemo's father was. However, since Xiao Fan was so afraid of Yemo's father, it seemed like Yemo's father wasn't simple. Yemo's father is called Yi Ditian. He's an elder of the Domain Lords Alliance. Many years ago, he successfully broke through to the peak Divine Emperor realm. However, I heard that Yi Ditian had successfully broken through the bottleneck and comprehended the power of time. Divine Emperor? Longao had always guessed that Divine Emperors weren't the pinnacle existences in the chaotic world. It seemed like Divine Emperors were existences above Divine Emperors. Everyone knew that the power of time was above the power of space. Brother Xiao, I don't know much about Divine Emperors. Please tell me. Xiao Fan wasn't surprised at all. He immediately said, above Divine Emperors is Divine Emperors. After reaching Divine Emperors, one can control the power of time. I believe you should know that the power of time is above the power of space. Xiao Fan nodded. Above Divine Emperors are the even more powerful Divine Emperors. Divine Emperors are able to create time domain, including time advance, time rewind, and time prohibition. The leader of the Domain Lords Alliance is a powerful Divine Emperor. As for Yemo's father, Yi Ditian, he should be a Divine Emperor. As for what level of Divine Emperor he is, I don't know. Xiao Fan was shocked. So there were Divine Emperors and Divine Emperors above Divine Emperors. If Yemo's father was really a Divine Emperor, then things would be troublesome. However, even so, he had to kill Emo Brother Long. Do you know the Domain Lord of the Lightning Domain? Lightning Domain? And Gu Hao suddenly came to Zonglong City 10 years ago, saying that he has a grudge against you for killing his father and wants to take revenge on you. He hasn't left yet, so he's stayed in the City Lord's mansion and will only leave after he finds your corpse. Gu Hao? Lightning Domain? Longao was obviously not unfamiliar with the Domain Lord of the Lightning Domain, Gu Hao. In the future, when his cultivation reached a certain level, he would definitely head to the Lightning Domain to look for Gu Hao. However, He never thought that Gu Hao would suddenly come to look for him. Longao could not understand how Gu Hao knew about him. Could it be the Xianyuan sword? Other than the Xianyuan sword, he really could not think of any other possibilities. If that was really the case, then it would be a bit troublesome. No matter what, with his current strength, how could he be a match for Gu Hao? Xiao Fan, what is Gu Hao's current strength? According to Master Xianyuan, if nothing unexpected happened, Gu Hao should be a high-level divine emperor. However, after so many years, he would not believe that Gu Hao did not have any breakthroughs. Could it be that Gu Hao had really broken through to the peak divine emperor? Just 10 years ago, Gu Hao finally broke through to the peak divine emperor realm. From there, he grasped the power of time and advanced to become a divine emperor ranker. Sure enough, he was worried that Gu Hao's cultivation would break through to the divine emperor realm, and now that it was true, he had to admit that Gu Hao was indeed a genius. If that was the case, even if he could become a divine emperor warrior, he would not be able to kill Gu Hao to avenge his master. There is a grudge between Gu Hao and me. It's not that I killed his father, but that he killed his own master, who is also my master. Chapter 3006. So that's how it is. Xiao Fan did not ask about the grudge between Longao and Gu Hao. Even if he had said so much to Longao, he and Longao were not friends. Between Longao and Yemo, he still did not know who to choose. If it was before, Xiao Fan would definitely choose Yemo without hesitation. After all, Yemo had a hierarch expert behind him, and Longao was just a small divine king warrior. The difference between the two was too great. They were not on the same level. But now, the situation was completely different. Longao could actually survive after burning his primordial spirit. It was simply a miracle among miracles. If he did not see it with his own eyes, he would not believe it even if he was beaten to death. Brother Long, what are you going to do next? Kill Yemo. If possible, kill Gu Hao along the way. He was not surprised at all, because Xiao Fan had already guessed that if it was not to kill Yemo, the other party would not come to Zonglong City. Madman. A complete madman. If it was anyone else, they would definitely not dare to do this. Only Longao, this madman, was not afraid of anything. Brother Xiao, it is not enough for me to do this alone. I hope you can help me. Similarly, Xiao Fan was not surprised, but he did not say anything. It was a joke. If he took a wrong step in this situation, then it would be a mistake. Brother Xiao, as long as you are willing to help me, I can help you break through to peak divine emperor. Why should I believe you? He did not put Longao in his heart at all. If Longao could help him break through to peak divine emperor, then why was he only in divine king realm? How could Longao not know what Xiao Fan was thinking? He sneered. This time, he came prepared to borrow Xiao Fan's power to deal with Yemo, to kill with a borrowed knife. Xiao Fan, this two-faced person, had to be used and could not be sincere friends. A mid-divine emperor could control space. If he wanted to reach high divine emperor and peak divine emperor, he could only control space to advance and retreat. It was easy to think about it, but it was difficult to do it. Xiao Fan smiled. Longao took out a beast core from his bosom. It was the great sixth divine beast Heavenly Phantom Wolf's beast core. Originally, Longao wanted Blackie to swallow this beast core. However, he didn't think that Blackie would be able to smoothly break through to the 5th level after swallowing the energy of numerous god kings. He didn't even need to use this beast core. This is exactly. Xiao Fan naturally knew what the Heavenly Phantom Wolf's beast core meant. But you have to know, the Heavenly Phantom Wolf was a level 6 divine beast. If he could consume this beast core, it would be of great help to his cultivation. There was no such thing as a free lunch. On one side was a level 6 beast pill, and on the other was dealing with Yemo and Gu Hao. How should he choose? Brother Long, do you think I'll agree to help you just for a single beast core? Xiao Chen sneered in his heart. What a cunning old fox. Brother Xiao, Yemo has been suppressing you at all times. There is no need for me to say anything more. I believe you know this better than I do. If nothing unexpected happens, after Yemo completely stabilizes his position as the city lord, his next target will be you. He will eliminate all future troubles. Cut the weeds and eliminate all future troubles. Xiao Fan's heart was gloomy to the extreme. How could he not know what Longao meant? Not to mention Yemo. Even if it was him, if he had the chance, he would definitely get rid of Yemo.
There was no doubt about that.
You don't need to worry about Gu Hao. As long as you can help me kill Yemo, then this beast core will be yours. Furthermore, in the future, you will be the domain lord of the Zone Long Tian region. With the beast core and the position of domain lord, Xiao Fan's heart began to move. However, once this matter was leaked out, the consequences would be unimaginable. At that time, once Yi Di Tian descended, not to mention himself, even 10,000 of him would die without a doubt. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't afraid. Longao did not say anything else, but quietly waited. He had already said it to such an extent. Whether Xiao Fan would agree or not was all up to the other party. Even if the other party did not agree, he could still find someone else. Silence. Neither of them said anything else. What if Yi Di Tian finds out about this? In any case, the grudge between Yemo and I is already irreconcilable. Even if Yi Di Tian finds out about this, so what? In the future, when I am strong enough, Yi Di Tian will not need to come to find me. I will naturally go to the Domain Lord Alliance to find him. Longao had already thought it through. With his current strength, even if he borrowed the power of the outside world, he would not be able to deal with Yi Di Tian and Gu Hao. Right now, he only had one mission, and that was to kill Yemo. As for the other two, he would wait until he was strong enough to make a move. How do you want me to help you? He was a beginner divine emperor, but Yemo was a mid-level divine emperor. The difference between the two of them was an entire level. It did not seem like a big difference, but in reality, it was very big. Beginner divine emperors could only control the spatial domain, while mid-level divine emperors could control the spatial imprisonment. You and I will each make a primordial spirit oath. In that case, you should first swallow this level 6 divine beast core. If nothing unexpected happens, you should be able to control the spatial imprisonment very quickly and become a mid-level divine emperor. At that time, you and I will join hands and set up a trap to kill Yemo. It won't be difficult. A primordial spirit oath was binding even for divine emperors. Xiao Fan did not really want to help Longao, so how could he be willing to make a primordial spirit oath? Xiao Fan smiled and said, "A primordial spirit oath? That's not necessary, right? Then I will take my leave first. When Brother Xiao thinks it through, contact me." Longao did not wait for Xiao Fan to react. He had already stood up and left quickly. In the blink of an eye, he had disappeared without a trace. Xiao Fan's face looked very ugly. It would be a lie if he said that he was not tempted. After all, he knew very well what a level 6 beast core meant. If he could swallow and refine a level 6 beast core, he might be able to use this opportunity to break through to the high-level Divine Emperor level, or even the peak of the Divine Emperor level. It was just that the price he had to pay for a single rank 6 beast core was too high. It was so high that he could not accept it. If he failed to deal with Yemo, he would definitely be hunted down by Yemo. Even if he succeeded, no one would be able to protect him. This matter could not be leaked out. Once it was leaked out, he could imagine the consequences. For the time being, Xiao Fan couldn't make a decision. After leaving, Longao did not leave Zone Long City. No matter if Xiao Fan agreed or not, he had to think of a way to kill Yemo. As for Gu Hao, it was still the same. In the future, when he was strong enough, he would clean up the sect. Chapter 3007. Boss, do you think Xiao Fan will agree with us? I don't know. Longao didn't like Xiao Fan at all. If it wasn't for his strength, he wouldn't have bothered with him at all. Xiao Fan was a typical opportunist. As long as it was beneficial to him, he would betray anyone. It's better to rely on ourselves. Even if Xiao Fan agrees with us, I'm afraid he won't help us sincerely.
So we'll do it ourselves.
Xiao He was very excited. It was a good thing to be able to kill a divine emperor expert. However, it wasn't easy to kill a divine emperor expert with his strength. What should he do? Domain Lord's mansion. Gu Hao and Yi Mo sat quietly in the main hall. Their faces didn't look good. After 10 years, they still couldn't find Longao's body. Brother Yi, I still have some things to do, so I'll leave first. If there's any news about Longao's body, inform me immediately. No problem. Take care, Brother Gu.
Goodbye.
Gu Hao left as soon as he said that. He knew very well that it wouldn't make much sense for him to stay. Longao was already dead. As long as the Xianyuan sword appeared again, it wouldn't be too late for him to come back. As soon as Gu Hao left, Xiao Fan walked in. Brother Xiao, where have you been? Yi Mo had always looked down on Xiao Fan. In his opinion, Xiao Fan was a little sinister. However, due to Xiao Fan's strength, Yi Mo had never made a move. However, he had already decided that he would find a way to get rid of Xiao Fan after some time. I had some personal matters to settle. Brother Gu, have you left? Just left. Both of them were old foxes with ulterior motives. Longao's body hasn't been found yet. We can't go on like this. Xiao Fan smiled helplessly and didn't say anything. Longao wasn't dead. It would be strange if you could find him. Xiao Fan didn't tell Yi Mo that Longao was looking for him because he knew that if he really said it, Yi Mo wouldn't believe him no matter if it was related to Longao or not. Once Yi Mo didn't believe him, he would definitely think of ways to get rid of him. There was no need to find trouble for himself. Brother Xiao, I'm preparing to make a trip back to the Domain Lord's Alliance. Why don't you come with me? His heart thumped. What did Yi Mo mean by this? Xiao Fan wasn't a fool. Why would Yi Mo drag him to the Domain Lord's Alliance for no reason? If he really went, wouldn't he be unable to return? The Domain Lord Alliance was the strongest power in the Chaos Dimension. 95% of the Domain Lords in the 99 Heaven regions were arranged by the Domain Lord Alliance, so it was obvious how terrifying the Domain Lord Alliance was. Yi Mo's father, Yi Ditian, was no ordinary person. Yi Ditian, an elder of the Domain Lord's Alliance, was a powerful, godly, venerable expert. If he really did return to the Domain Lord's Alliance, and Yi Mo and Yi Ditian wanted to deal with him, he wouldn't even have the chance to regret it. Brother Yi, I still have some matters to attend to. Why don't you go first? He sneered in his heart. Yi Mo had already decided that when he brought Xiao Fan back to the Domain Lord Alliance, he had to think of a way to get rid of this person. Originally, he had wanted to establish a sect, but after thinking about it, he decided against it. It would be better for him to smoothly become a Domain Lord. Thinking of this, Yi Mo wanted to get rid of Xiao Fan even more. However, to get rid of a godly emperor, especially a former Domain Lord, he couldn't do it openly. He had to do it secretly. Using his father's power was the most suitable. Brother Xiao, you don't know, but this time, my father wants to see you personally. It will be beneficial for you. The more Yi Mo acted like this, the more certain Xiao Fan was that he would be in danger if he went to the Domain Lord Alliance. However, Yi Mo had already mentioned Yi Ditian. If he continued to refuse, it would obviously be provoking Yi Ditian. At that time, it would be too easy for Yi Ditian to find trouble with him. Xiao Fan regretted it. If he had known this would happen, he would have agreed to Longao's request. Even if it was dangerous, he would have gotten rid of Yi Mo first. If this matter didn't leak out, not only would he not be in danger, he could even become a Domain Lord. Xiao Fan had already guessed that Yi Mo would definitely get rid of him, but he didn't expect that Yi Mo couldn't even wait for a few minutes.
Go.
Or not. If he went, he would be in danger. If he didn't go, he would cause more trouble for Yi Ditian. Under such circumstances, he was in a dilemma. Brother Yi. Haha, Brother Xiao. Don't be nervous. There will definitely be benefits for you if you come with me to the Domain Lord Alliance. We will leave in 10 days. As for your matter, It won't be too late to deal with it when you return. Yi Mo didn't give Xiao Fan any chance to refuse and said with a smile. Xiao Fan cursed in his heart. However, since things had already come to this, Xiao Fan could only agree. As for whether he would go or not, he would think about it later. After returning to his residence, Xiao Fan couldn't wait to contact Longao. However, at this moment, he helplessly discovered that he had no way of contacting Longao. He cursed in his heart. Since Yi Mo wanted to join forces with him to deal with Yi Mo, why didn't he leave any contact? Xiao Fan was very anxious because he only had 10 days. If he couldn't get rid of Yi Mo in 10 days, there would only be one outcome. He would follow Yi Mo to the Domain Lord Alliance. As for whether he lived or died, it wasn't something he could control. Xiao Fan could even say that Yi Ditian definitely didn't know that he would follow Yi Mo back to the Domain Lord Alliance. Once he returned, Yi Mo could borrow Yi Ditian's power to eliminate him at any time. Zonglong City. Longao could clearly feel a terrifying aura passing by in an instant. Without a doubt, the person who just left was definitely a divine venerable expert. According to Xiao Fan, there was only one divine venerable in the entire Zonglong City, and that was Gu Hao, his master's traitor. He was just curious. Why did Gu Hao leave for no reason? However, Longao didn't stop him. His current task was to deal with Yi Mo. As for Gu Hao, it wasn't time yet. A hierarch expert was too far away for him. Inside his chaotic dantian, looking at the Xian Yuan sword in his hand, Longao felt very sad. Yun Qian and Yun Shi died because of him. He felt very guilty and blamed himself. Although Nangong Chen was killed by him, Nangong Fingfing's whereabouts were still unknown. This debt, no matter what, he had to take revenge. At this moment, Longao exclaimed. His face was instantly filled with surprise, as if he couldn't believe what was happening in front of him. Boss, what happened? Chapter 3008. Xiao He was very curious. He did not know what was going on with his boss. Longao did not answer. He simply stared at the Xianyuan sword in his hand. Qian, Sister Yun, is that you? Sensing the two weak auras coming from the Xianyuan sword, Longao was overjoyed. He was almost certain that neither Sister Yun nor Qian had truly died. Their primordial spirits had been forcibly absorbed by the Xianyuan sword. Thinking about it, he understood. Qian had received her master's power inheritance. Even if she chose to self-destruct her primordial spirit, the Xianyuan sword would sense its master's aura and directly absorb Qian and Sister Yun's primordial spirits into the Xianyuan sword. How could he not be overjoyed? He had thought that Qian and Sister Yun had died. Unexpectedly, there was still a chance. As long as the two of them could be reborn, Longao was willing to give up everything. Suppressing the joy in his heart, Longao said, "Earlier, I sensed Sister Yun and Qian's auras from the Xianyuan sword. It means that their primordial spirits have entered the Xianyuan sword. They have not truly died." Hearing that, Xiao He was also overjoyed. "Boss, if that's the case, when will you help them be reborn?" Rebirth? Easier said than done. Not to mention him. Even God Emperors could not do that. Thinking about how the two of them had only managed to preserve their primordial spirits and how rebirth was not an easy task, Longao's face turned grim. As long as there is hope, as long as there is hope, Longao sighed. He had been too hasty. If he wanted the two of them to be reborn, he had to do it step by step. He could not be too hasty. Sitting quietly in his chaotic dantian, Longao began to think about how to save the two of them. The Xianyuan sword. Should he borrow his master's power? He heaved a deep sigh. After thinking about it for a long time, he still couldn't think of a better way to solve the problem of the two women. "Boss, I have an idea. I don't know if it's possible."
Tell me about it.
Since their primordial spirits were absorbed by the Xianyuan sword, the key lies within the Xianyuan sword. "Boss, why don't you take control of the Xianyuan sword and see what's going on. Long Xiaohe had a rough idea of what Xiaohe was trying to say. The more you care, the more confused you become. That was indeed the case. If he wanted the two women to be reborn, the first thing he had to do was to master the Xianyuan sword. Only in this way could he think of a solution as soon as possible. It was easy to think about, but difficult to actually do. Ever since he got the Xianyuan sword, Longao had been trying to master it, but no matter what he did, he couldn't do it. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't depressed. Without any hesitation, Longao immediately began to grasp the Xianyuan sword. And the result? Still not succeeding, Longao became more and more irritated. Big brother, why don't you let me try?
Sure.
Blackie took the Xianyuan sword and started to refine it. However, the result was the same as Longao's. He was still unable to truly control the Xianyuan sword. He wasn't disappointed at all because Longao had already guessed this result. Although he had already grasped the God-slaying 9 swords, he was unable to truly grasp the Xianyuan sword and was unable to unleash the true prowess of the God-slaying 9 swords. Right at this moment, Longao seemingly sensed something, and he quickly left his chaotic dantian. He went outside and found an extremely remote place. Longao, His Majesty had thought that you could inherit my Xianyuan sword. Unexpectedly, you are the reincarnation of an expert and cannot inherit it. If you want to save your two women, you should hurry up and find a successor for the Xianyuan sword. All right? As for Yun Qian obtaining my power, after she is reborn, she will naturally continue to refine my power. This is the last remnant of my soul. I can only help you this once. In the future, you will have to rely on yourselves. After saying that, Xianyuan Bubi's remnant soul slowly disappeared. Longao bowed respectfully toward the disappearing primordial spirit. It was a sincere bow. Naturally, Longao knew that the reason why Qian, and Sister Yun's primordial spirits could be forcefully sucked into the Xianyuan sword was all because of his master. If not for his master, one could imagine what the consequences would be. Although he did not succeed in inheriting the Xianyuan sword and the God-slaying 9 swords, Longao still considered Xianyuan Bubi as his master. Xiaohe was unable to inherit the Xianyuan sword. It would appear that he was in the same situation as him, a reincarnation. He had to hurry up and find a successor for the Xianyuan sword. That way, not only would he not let his master down, he would also be able to help the two women be reborn. However, the current situation, he had to find a suitable successor for his master. After thinking about it, Longao suddenly thought of someone. Dragon City. Using the teleportation array, Longao returned to Dragon City at the fastest speed possible. After thinking about it, he finally thought of Big Brother Dongfang. Brother Long, are you all right? Of course, Longao knew what Big Brother Dongfang was talking about. He shook his head and said with a smile, I'm fine. It was scary but not dangerous. Dongfang Tuing, Han Yin Han Feng, Dabai, and Xiaobai. Longao did not hide anything from the 5 of them. He told them about what happened previously. However, he did not mention anything about his primordial spirits. Although Longao said it simply, the 5 people were shaken to the core when they heard it, especially Han Feng, who was full of praise for Longao. Longao, I have already reported your matter to the Pill Hall. You can rest assured. Even the Domain Lords Alliance will not be able to do anything to you. The Domain Lords Alliance was indeed powerful. However, it was still not enough to suppress the Pill Hall. No matter what, the Pill Hall's strength was definitely on par with the Domain Lords Alliance. The strength of the two great forces was about the same. Thank you, Big Brother. Brother Long, why did you come back this time? Dongfang Tuing could tell that Longao had something to ask and immediately asked. Longao nodded. Big Brother Dongfang, I have something to trouble you with this time.
Please say it.
As long as it's something that I can do, I will definitely help. Dongfang Tuing did not know what Longao wanted. However, no matter what it was, as long as it was something that he could do, he would definitely not decline. I believe that you should have heard of Xianyuan Bubi. He is my master. However, I am not suitable to inherit his Xianyuan sword and 9 god-slaying swords. After thinking about it, I feel that the most suitable person is still you. To be honest, one of my sisters and one of my wives self-destructed their primordial spirits in order to save me. My master forcefully absorbed their primordial spirits into the Xianyuan sword. After you have obtained the Xianyuan sword, help them to be reborn. So, it's about this. Dongfang Tuing naturally would not reject this matter. He immediately nodded his head and said, "Brother Long, leave this to me." Longao did not hesitate and immediately handed over the Xianyuan sword. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.